Basic Education Ziviwe Gwahube earlier today. Gwahube reported cases of irregularities involving the mathematics, physical sciences and English home language examinations, which were leaked using a USB storage device. The minister said the leaks involved education officials, a parent and 26 learners from 7 schools in the Pretoria area. Umalusi spokesperson Biki Lebota says they are satisfied with the steps taken by the department so far, which include a task team investigation and reporting the matter to the police.
Umalusi has noted with serious concern the issues raised during the media briefing held earlier today by the Minister of Basic Education, Ms. Ziviwe Gwahube, concerning reported cases of irregularities involving NSC mathematics, physical sciences, and English home language examinations. Umalusi wishes to inform the public that it has received a preliminary report on Wednesday, 10 December, from the Department of Basic Education on the issues reported by the Minister.
An Umkhonto weSizwe councillor from Port Shepstone in KZN is amongst the suspects accused of defrauding the Unemployment Insurance Fund. This has been confirmed by the Special Investigating Unit, which has been conducting search and seizure operations today. The operations are targeting homes, businesses and UIF offices in KZN as well as in Gauteng. It forms part of an SIU probe into the alleged theft of 161 million rand from the Unemployment Insurance Fund. The SIU says the money was allegedly siphoned from the UIF's COVID-19 Temporary Employee Relief Scheme. SIU spokesperson Keza Khanyago says the raids are targeting 35 individuals and 16 companies.
The substantial funds received were not paid to the workers. Instead, they were distributed among syndicate members in a pattern consistent with money laundering.
Khanyago says evidence suggests that the syndicate submitted false relief scheme applications.
Digital evidence, computers, desktop, data storage devices, cellular phones, network equipment belonging to or used by the targeted companies have been seized.
To this now, former investigating directorate head Advocate Hermione Cronje has told a panel interviewing her for the role of prosecution's boss that there is a skills catastrophe in the NPA. Cronje is one of 6 candidates vying for the top prosecutor post at the NPA. Today is the second and final day of interviews ahead of Advocate Shamila Batoyi's term coming to an end next month. Khomozo Modise has more.
Advocate Hermione Cronje was Western Cape head of Asset Forfeiture Unit when she left the NPA in 2012 and was brought back in 2019 to head up the Investigating Directorate, a position she held for 3 years. In her interview today, Cronje has told the advisory panel that when she returned to the NPA, she did not realize how bad things had become. Cronje has spoken of a skills catastrophe in the NPA, saying prosecutors have been relegated to secondary legal professionals.
Saying that doesn't mean there aren't very good people in the NPA with very good experience. But as a rule, we are failing in ensuring that prosecutors have the skills that they need to come up against skilled legal professionals on the other side.
For much of her testimony, Cronje has been extremely critical of the state of the NPA, saying when she was head of IDAC, there was no space to implement what she believed the institution needed. Khomozo Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
EFF leader Julius Malema believes he is being targeted for his political views as he prepares to return to court for sentencing. Earlier this year, Malema was found guilty of breaking gun laws after he fired a weapon at a rally in the Eastern Cape in 2018. The EFF leader is scheduled to appear at the East London Magistrates Court next month for pre-sentencing proceedings. Malema claims the guilty verdict is an attempt to silence him.
I've been found guilty. Not because I committed crime, because she's punishing me for my political views and using a non-existing criminal matter which is not there.
Malema claims the magistrate in his case has an agenda against him.
Anyone who loves the law of this country, who agrees that presiding officers must never use the courts to settle political scores, have got a reason to come out in their numbers on the 23rd and say, not in the name of our law, not in the name of our constitution, are you going to use your political differences with Malema to abuse what is entrusted with you.
And a tribunal set up to confront an ongoing women's rights crisis in Afghanistan is set to report on its findings at The Hague this afternoon. The tribunal, convened by a coalition of Afghan civil society organizations and the Permanent People's Tribunal, was set up to expose the systemic denial of women's rights in that nation. Today's outcome follows a 3-day tribunal in Madrid where Afghan women presented testimonies to challenge the Taliban and international community to uphold women's rights. Women's rights activist Malala Yousafzai says the tribunal is a major step forward.
It recognizes what Afghan women and girls have been saying for years, even as they have been ignored. They have gathered evidence, spoken out, and pushed for justice at huge personal risk.
Gold is trading at $4,215.71 an ounce. The rand is at 16.91 to the dollar, 22.60 to the pound, 19.78 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $62.14 a barrel.
Well, if you're leaving the Joburg CBD, there's slow-moving traffic. This is in the Salby area on Main Reef Road between Anderson and the M2. Also, bumper-to-bumper traffic in Edenville on the R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Giluli's interchange. If you're leaving Sandton, heading towards Joburg, traffic a bit sluggish. This is M1 southbound between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends.
In your sport, the latest from the second T20 between India and South Africa. Hugo Broos happy with Bafana Bafana playing just one game ahead of AFCON. And Evan Etzebeth accepts his 12-game ban as he tries to justify his actions.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 25 and 27 degrees. The top story in EWN, exam quality assurer Umalusi has welcomed the ongoing investigative work aimed at determining the magnitude of Matric exam irregularities.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Thursday, the 11th of December. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. Teachers and matriculants, parents and education officials have today been confronted with the harsh facts of a matric exam paper leak. Minister Siviwe Gwarube today argued that this illustrated the robustness of the department's fraud detection systems. Others are concerned that the stealing of 7 exam papers was simply too easy. But what are teachers saying? They, after all, are at the front line of all of this. We'll get the views of Basil Manuel, who heads the teachers' union, NAPTOSA. We'll do that after 5. Some other stories we're covering. The panel interviewing candidates for the position of head of the NPA are busy with candidate number 5. One more to go before the panelists wrap up later today. Kumotso Modise, who you heard a moment ago, will join us in a moment with an update. Talks to end the Russia-Ukraine war seem to have stalled, but that doesn't mean there's nothing happening. Behind the scenes, what is happening? International relations expert Professor James Kerr-Lindsay joins us for that update at 10 past 4. And as delivery bikes buzz up and down all day long on every street in our cities, certainly feels that way to me. What exactly have all of you been ordering by way of takeaways? Uber Eats has just released its cravings report for 2025. More on that at 25 past 3. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and we'll bring you the latest from the markets, starting right now on a day when the all shares actually done rather well, up by around 865 points. The rand, though, has made very good gains against the US dollar. That in a moment, but first, the stocks. HCI is up by 6.25%. Valterra has gained 3.4%, and Naspers is stronger by 2.6%. On the downside, Mr. Price, which had a desperate day yesterday, losing 13%, is weaker again today by 3.9%. Now, I said the rand against the dollar. A dollar will cost you 16 rand 92. That's a pickup for our currency of 8 cents over the past 24 hours. A euro will cost you 19 rand 83. Loss from our point of view of 5 cents. 22 rand 66 will get you a pound sterling, more expensive by 3 cents compared to this time yesterday. The oil price, Brent crude, is sharply down by $1.18 and currently for sale at $61.41 a barrel. You should get yourself one, except you wouldn't know where to put it. Stephen Kritis joins us with all the market news at 4:25. We'll have sport with Tola Kele Mganga, and Bali Dlamini has the very latest news headlines, and Karabo Chale is keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, we will do our level best to bring it to you first. But if you hear about things first, or you see them, or you notice details of a particular incident that we might have missed, it's quite possible as well that we might have the wrong end of a very short stick. Well, you can call us about that as well. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. 702 Drive, it's 12 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, lots to think about. Some of the most interesting thoughts, I always say, are the most random. Today's thought, though, is not a random thought at all. It's a very persistent one in my head, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a fairly persistent thought in your head as well. What are you most looking forward to doing when you finally take a break in the holiday season? I know some of you will be saying, yeah, right, because there are people who work through this period. But generally, the people I know who do that take a break sometime late end of Jan, early February. So I think the question still applies to you, unless you're planning to work 12 months in a row on top of the 12 months in a row you've just worked. So things that you are most looking forward to doing when your break finally rolls around. Refuwe Litsua is not getting a break today or tomorrow, but eventually one will come. When that time does come, Refuwe, good afternoon to you. What are you most looking forward to doing?
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. So I'm looking forward to a couple of things. Catching up on my reading, number one, because I've been really naughty when it comes to my reading. I haven't been so consistent. Trying out new recipes. So I recently just bought myself a recipe book. So I'm quite excited to try that out. A bit of cleaning, John, resting, catching up with friends and family and my pets. Yeah, just relaxing. I think this year has been quite long for me.
Yeah, they're all long, I must say. And short. Isn't that the weird thing? Years are both long and really short, because how often do we say, wow, it's December already?
Yeah.
And out of the same mouth comes the phrase, geez, the year's dragging. So
Can the year end already?
I mean, people are already complaining about how December's actually dragging along us on the socials. And they were like, yo, can this December just get to the 16th already?
Yeah, that's
it's dragging.
Yeah, but it's flying too. So how about you, Karabo Chali? What do you like to do when you've got time?
Definitely sleeping in. I'll just sleep until about 10 a.m. Even if I've run out of sleep, I'll just sit in bed and just scroll through TikTok, watch a movie. I need to catch up on my movies and series. And the other one that I'm looking forward to is visiting relatives and in-laws who are going to be spoiling me and treating me because they're excited to have me around. So yeah, I love being spoiled as a visitor. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, it's something that I look forward to. I was just thinking about all the things I'm looking forward to when I take a break, and there are some specific things. There's a cycling route that I really like, and I like seeing if I can get better and better at getting up this hitherto impossible hill that I've never made it to the top of. But the thing I most look forward to is waking up without a list of things that I have to do.
Yes.
So I'm not necessarily going to sleep longer. I'm not necessarily going to lie in longer. But I'm going to get up with a sense of a little bit of ease and peace. I really like that. And then there's other stuff, swimming and that one can list, and movies and reading books.
That sounds very relaxing.
Falling asleep with a book in your hand and not being worried about it. But it's that feeling. It's almost more a feeling than an activity. But that's me. That's Refuwe. That's Karabo Chale. What about you? If you've got a break coming up, what are you looking forward to most? Drop us a note on that. 072 702 1702. Some people might be looking forward to less traffic, but however much traffic there is, you're in safe hands here. Karabo, what's up?
Well, not looking too bad on our roads, I must say. Traffic is free-flowing across most parts of 702 land, so nothing really to worry about. No accidents have been reported. However, it is peak hour traffic, so you can expect some delays. Let me start in Pretoria, where there's some slow-moving traffic. This is in the Diersdorp area. There's bumper-to-bumper traffic on Sifako Mahato Drive approaching Moloto Road. In Protea Glen, also slow-moving traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville, Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck, as well as in Melrose at Corlett and the M1 North. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
You disappeared at some point, like you took a break. I don't know what to call it. What was happening at the time and what made you decide to pause a little bit?
There was so much. I think a lot of people don't realize how much pressure an artist can be in. I remember I was at a gig where, it felt like every other gig we had done, same kind of vibe. It's like the little Notende, the artist who was writing songs and dancing. She said, so is this all you're going to do? You're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again when you know that there's so much more to you.
Because a true artist will be frustrated by that.
You see?
Notende Madumo.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints. Affordable, lasting luxury.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The crazy store's got deals galore and everything you need. From tinsel presents, wrapping, and a star for your Christmas tree. We've got all sorts of games and sports, many toys to buy. Stationery, arts and crafts, come on and don't be shy. No need to panic shop, we're your one-stop Christmas spot. Your table will be dressed and you will not be stressed. When Christmas Eve is here, you'll want to sing and cheer. I got everything at the crazy store and I can't wait for next year.
Hey, you never know what you might find this Christmas.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The Financial Sector Conduct Authority finally issuing fines of more than 2 billion rand on the trading platform Bankso. It's been found guilty of lying to clients, misappropriating funds, promising unrealistic returns.
Most of the consumers, they're looking for investments that yield a better return, that give a higher interest rate. So that's where we are gullible. Now, these scammers will take opportunity of such behavior.
Eunice Sabia is an independent financial trainer and coach.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 20 past 3. South Africa will, in the early part of 2026, have a new head of the National Prosecuting Authority as Advocate Shimela Batoy's term comes to an end. 6 candidates are being interviewed. I think we're done with 5 so far, as the panel has moved through its 2-day process. One more person still to be heard today. So let's catch up with what's happened so far. Khomotso Modise has been reporting throughout the day on this. Khomotso, I wanted to start, I suppose, in the middle with the person who has either just finished or they seem to be on a break. Hermione Cronje, who has had a lengthy career in the prosecutorial service. What are the kind of key points that she's made in terms of what she says she's going to do? What are her promises?
Good afternoon, John. Yes, Advocate Hermione Cronje finishing her time before the panel right here at these interviews. And she's been very critical of the NPA as an institution, really speaking about the challenges that she experienced when she was at the NPA, particularly at the asset forfeiture unit, and then when she returned to head up the investigating directorate. She was only at the investigating directorate for 3 years, and she's given a number of reasons for why she left. But essentially, she felt like there was no support, there were no resources, there was no staff, there was no infrastructure, and she felt like everything at the NPA was a fight when she wanted to get things done. But she's also spoken about some of the systemic issues in the NPA that we've heard people complain about all the time. She calls it a skills catastrophe. The fact that
yes.
NPA officials or many prosecutors just can't match up with their counterparts, who are in who work in the private sector. And this is something, John, that the panelists were a little concerned about, really just asking her about this picture of doom and gloom that she paints, asking if this is the type of organization that she speaks about, that she actually wants to head up, but also just, questioning whether the issues that caused her to leave when she left, I believe it was in 2022, when she left IDAC, whether those issues, if they persist, which is very likely, how will she deal with them? But I must say that she's spoken very passionately about the NPA, and she really, it does feel like she was really waiting for the opportunity to kind of open up and speak about all the wrongs that she feels are in the institution.
In terms of the balance, I mean, clearly she was trying to say, listen, this is all the stuff that needs fixing. Did you get the sense that the panel felt that she was too negative? I mean, she might have, and I don't know her or what she was trying to get across, but some other people might have heard it as saying, well, this is all the stuff I'm really, really keen to have a chance to fix.
John, I do think that there was a bit of a concern about, they call it painting of doom and gloom. I mean, we even heard one of the panelists, asking about her choice of words when she speaks about a skills catastrophe, saying that makes it sound like something that's just beyond repair, and if those are her views. And I think the sentiment that she's trying to bring across is that she does believe in the NPA. She says that she didn't abandon the NPA when she left in 2022. She just she had differing views from the leadership, and she decided to leave. But yes, something interesting that stood out for me during her interview, John, is when she said that if she's going to have to push and fight for what she wants, and if she's not going to be given the opportunity to implement what she believes should be done within the NPA, she's not going to stick around for that. She says she's going to do what she can, and she will fight as much as she can, but she's not going to stick around for an organization where she's not allowed to change what she believes needs to be changed. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the panelists consider that sentiment, whether it may be viewed as a view that, she's going to walk out when she doesn't get her way, or if they're going to view it as the fact that she really does want to see changes come into effect and not just preach about them during these interviews.
Thank you very much, Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, and back to the commission hearing, Khomotso Modise, to try and hear what's going on. And the last candidate, Menzi Simelane, who has also had his own history in the prosecutorial service. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 25 minutes past 3.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Still to come on the show a little bit later, we're going to be taking a close look at somebody who's been honored as the most promising farmer of 2025, the Emerging Farmer of the Year, Tsililo Mafuga. is the winner of that particular award, and really looking forward to that conversation. We've had so many conversations about agriculture and all its manifestations, haven't really focused on perhaps smaller scale farmers and their efforts to move up and move through the ranks of farming. I did ask you the question a little bit earlier, what are you most looking forward to on your holidays? The other thing I wanted to ask you, has anybody ever been a matric exam marker or an invigilator? One of the things that I thought was really, really interesting when we heard the briefing given by Sibiwe Kwagube, Minister of Basic Education, was she was talking about how markers actually were starting to pick up patterns in answers given to particular papers. Now, I don't know if that came up in the maths paper. More likely, I think it came up in the English paper where the answers were just so impossibly similar that there had to be something suspicious going on. Obviously, if you get the same answers in maths, well, those are the correct answers. But have you been an invigilator, been a marker of matric exam sheets? I would be very keen to find out what you found. 27 minutes past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Right. I spoke earlier about how motorbikes, you see motorbikes buzzing all over the city. They're sometimes delivering groceries. They're working for companies like Take a Lot. They will be busy delivering household goods or electronics or something else. But many, many, many of them are delivering meals ready to eat. And so for that reason, we thought we'd take a look at the South Africa 2025 Cravings Report, which has been put together by Uber Eats. And to talk about this, we're joined now on 702 Drive by Cassie Chaganyi, who's Head of Communications for Uber SA. Very good afternoon to you, and thanks for giving us your time. We order more fried chicken than any single other thing. And apparently that's something we've been doing for years. Malva pudding comes in very respectable, as you describe it, second place. Is the fried chicken explosion, if you could call it that, mostly being bought from a small number of suppliers, or are there a lot of more people that make fried chicken than perhaps we realize?
Hi, John. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, South Africa has come back through once again. Their love for fried chicken, loud and clear. And to answer your question, you know, the search specifically for fried chicken, we're not seeing it from any one particular retailer. It's actually a pattern we're seeing across a number of different retailers. So it really is just something that, you know, people really love.
Yeah, so I want to look at some of the stats, and they're very, very interesting indeed. I mean, the busiest delivery person, according to your number, completed 8,250 trips and traveled almost 49,000 kilometers. To put that in perspective, obviously you wouldn't want to do that on a motorbike, but they could probably go to Cairo and back. I mean, did this person sleep?
Yes, John. So, I mean, I think it really is a testament to the fact of what the business as Uber Eats and really the explosion of convenience culture in general. So, you know, in particularly for our couriers, there are a lot of safeguards that are in place. They're only allowed to drive for a certain number of hours a day. But really, what it really is showing us is that this is an opportunity for people to make some money, you know, have adequate earning opportunities so they can be, you know, economic participators in a country where unemployment is actually quite high. So, yeah, it's a number of kilometers and it's pretty impressive.
One of the things you highlighted, Ms. Chagani, is that you get a little sense of the people behind the orders. I mean, some of the personal stats are really quite amazing. The top eater placed 2,772 orders, spending 465,320 Rand in 2025 alone. Is that one person ordering for one person? Do they have a huge circle of friends? Or do you, for example, get orders from people who may be running a division in a call center where they're actually ordering for 8, 9, or 10 people?
For sure. I mean, look, I think it's a fair question. What the data is showing us is that this was from one particular person over the course of the year. So this is someone maybe who's just, either really passionate about certain foods or doesn't want to cook, or maybe it's speaking to the fact that, what Uber Eats has been able to do is really put time back in people's pockets. We launched our economic impact report in 2023, which showed that the use of Uber Eats has saved consumers more than 12.7 million hours by delivering meals and groceries directly to their door. And the saving of 12.7 million hours is so much more than, just an additional hour a day. It's about time with family. It's about time to focus on things that truly matter to you while not having to worry about where food is coming from. So this person, I think, we call them a super user. Are they ordering for a lot of people? That kind of thing isn't hugely clear in the data. But what we can say is, a huge thank you to this eater. We see you, we recognize you, and we're grateful.
Well, you say you, we see you, he sees you a lot more than you see him, it would seem. But many thanks, Cassie Chagani, Head of Communications for Uber SA. The Uber Eats South Africa 2025 Cravings Report. Lots of interesting data. We didn't get a chance to get to all of it, but at least a snapshot. And we'll throw out a question a little later in the show to see if we can take it a bit further in terms of what your stories are. 28 minutes to 4. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news. This eyewitness news is brought to you by Vouch. Hassle-free insurance is possible with your Vouch advisor. Vouch SA is an authorized financial services provider. T's and C's apply.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Police are investigating a case of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder after an alleged mob justice attack in Diepkloof, Soweto. It's understood the group of young men was targeted by the community in the early hours of this morning. Gauteng police arrived on the scene to find 4 males stripped naked with visible injuries. Police spokesperson Dimakatso Nebuhului has confirmed a 19-year-old was declared dead on the scene. She says 3 others are being treated for injuries in hospital.
The circumstances surrounding the incident are unknown at this stage, and police will be investigating a case of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. The community is urged to allow the police to do their work.
Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says his department is starting to break the hold on the construction mafia that it has had on government infrastructure projects. In KZN, it's been a year since a project in the province has been interfered with. Today, McPherson has reported that since a pact was signed at a national construction summit in Durban in November last year, more than 700 cases related to the so-called construction mafia have been lodged. He adds that at least 250 people have been arrested in connection with these complaints. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says with greater police involvement, significant progress has been made to lessen the grip of the construction mafia on government building sites. He says construction companies have reported regaining 80% of the construction hours previously lost to work stoppages caused by the interference on projects.
These early indicators show that confidence is slowly beginning to be restored in the sector.
McPherson says in the last year, 176 people have been convicted for site stoppages, violence and intimidation.
So that proactive security response has shown people that if they try and stop sites, that there will be a consequence for it.
The minister has ascribed the success to a combination of factors, including a dedicated SAPS official in every province overseeing complaints and improved communication with local communities. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
We shift our focus to this now. Building owners found to be connecting electricity illegally in Tshwane will be fined 300,000 rand penalties. Officials from the Bad Buildings Divisions inspected a privately owned building in Sunnyside today. They were joined by Metro Police officers and officials from human settlements, electricity as well as water. First on the agenda was a 17-story building called Spreitzig Park in Sunnyside, Pretoria. Since the building is privately owned, inspectors had to assess the outside of the building while waiting for access of individual units. Chairperson of the committee, Kulufelo Murodi, explained the reason for the visit.
We are concerned about their accounts, their rates and taxes, their water. We suspect that they've breached the water and also their electricity.
While in Indonesia, flood victims are struggling to rebuild after heavy rainfall and flooding battered the nation. The devastating weather closed in on the area earlier today, leaving residents frustrated over relief efforts. The Disaster Mitigation Agency says residents have now lost hope in government, saying the pace of relief efforts has been slow. Tropical storms and monsoon rains have pummeled Southeast and South Asia this month, triggering landslides and flash floods from the rainforest of Sumatra to plantations in Sri Lanka. Experts say more rain is predicted. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 25 and 27 degrees.
In the Pretoria CBD, there's slow-moving traffic on Bloot Street. This is between Eskia, Mphahlele and Sisulu. Also, Deerteport, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on Sefako Drive approaching Moloto Road, and in Protea Glen, Soweto, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558.
The top story in EWN, police are investigating a case of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder after an alleged mob justice attack in Diepkloof, Soweto.
Ever tried to pick insurance and just zoned out? Too much jargon, too many options, too many open tabs. Enter Vouch. Vouch connects you with real, independent advisors who help you compare quotes from SA's top insurers, who explain things clearly and who guide you through it all. No spam, no pressure, just honest advice and cover that fits your life. Vouch. Someone on the inside, on your side. Vouch SA is an authorized financial services provider. T's and C's apply.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Sebastian in Eldorado Park, he had voted for Umkhonto Wesizwe political party in the general elections last year, and he admits to doing so to spite the ANC. What do you make about Sebastian's call in the previous hour?
There's so much movie happening in the MK party, but what about the movie that is happening in the ANC?
Quinton, you've got some thoughts on this.
If people basically keep on voting with their hearts and not with their minds, they're going to basically be sitting in the same situation they've been sitting for the last few years, where there's no service delivery.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Every week there's a new SUV brand you can't pronounce. The Mini Countryman doesn't need to reinvent itself. Heritage comes standard. Head-up display keeps you focused. All-wheel drive keeps you going. And driver assist keeps you calm while the others catch up. The Mini Countryman from 9,899 Rand per month with Mini Select Finance. Visit mini.co.za to book your test drive. T's and C's apply.
The beeping machines, the hospital smells, the moments of fear. And all that remains is what matters most.
Dad's home!
Because recovery isn't about the procedure or the paperwork. It's about getting back to the people and places that matter to you. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. Voted #1 medical aid in the Ask Africa Orange Index Awards for the 2nd year running. Visit bonitas.co.za and find your plan.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
EWN Sport.
Okay, we've got cricket again today. Tolakele, T20 match number 2, India, South Africa. I think we've had the toss and the game's underway. What's the latest?
Well, John, the Proteas have been sent into bat first and they're currently 10 without any loss in the second over. At the crease is Quinton de Kock on 9 alongside Reza Hendricks on 0. For the women, lightning and then rain forced the abandonment of their third and final T20 against Ireland. That's without a ball being bowled. South Africa won the 3-match series 2-0 following comfortable victories by 105 runs and then 65. Attention now for Laura Veltvat and her teammates switches to the ODI series, which begins on Saturday at Buffalo Park.
think we had some great performances from individuals back to back. I think we've only done it once in our history before this, so to be able to do it twice in a row is pretty impressive. I think we had some great performances from individuals as well. I think Sine, obviously player of the series. Danae's comeback, she played pretty well. We had a lot of different batters chipping in to push those 200 scores. So yeah, very pleased with that. Bowling wise as well, I think we had a couple of opportunities with the ball. I think spinners bowled pretty well in Boland, so yeah, pleased.
Hugo Bruce says Tuesday's friendly against Ghana is sufficient pre-tournament practice for Bafana Bafana ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations. South Africa are currently camping at the HPC Centre in Pretoria and will leave for the tournament in Morocco on Wednesday.
Why should we play now two games in November? We played how many? 8 games this year. The qualifiers for World Cup. Friendlies in June. I don't see a reason why we should have played now 2 games, and in November again 2 games. Certainly taking in account that the majority of my group are players for Sundowns and the Pirates. They played enough games.
And Eben Etzebeth has accepted his 12-match ban for an eye gouge on Wales flanker Alex Mann, but maintains it was not an intentional act. Etzebeth will be out of action until April after an independent disciplinary committee handed down the sanction. The double World Cup winner took to social media to offer a detailed explanation of what transpired and maintains he never intentionally targeted Mann's eyes. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 18 minutes to 4, Eyewitness News Traffic with Plumlink, your local plumbing store. Visit plumlink.co.za to find your nearest store. Karabo Charlie, Protea Glen is not too good, eh?
Yeah, we have bumper-to-bumper traffic. That's in the Soweto Protea Glen area, heading into Lenasia. There's slow-moving traffic. N12 westbound. This is between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558 in Pretoria, Derdeport. Slow-moving traffic on Sipako Makhato Drive. This is approaching Moloto Road. Otherwise, generally, the rest of 702 land not looking too bad. No accidents have been reported on our highways. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenvale, Morafontein Road and Van Riebeek, as well as in Bramley at Collet and Scott. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
If it's plumbing, you'll find it at Plumlink, South Africa's largest plumbing retailer. From pipes, fittings, geysers and baths to basins, taps, tools and accessories, we've got it all. With more than 10,000 quality products at the right price and over 150 stores nationwide, there's always a Plumlink near you, ready to help with expert advice and unbeatable value. Find your nearest branch today at plumlink.coza.
Plumlink, your local plumbing store.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So we were asking, what are you most looking forward to doing when you get a chance to take a break at some point in the holidays? I know that some people wait till the end of Jan, maybe. Easier to do, I would think, if you don't have children or you don't work in jobs like ours, like radio, where there's careful planning around when listeners are around and when they might be away. So those are issues that we deal with as well. But whenever it is that you're planning to take a break, what are you most looking forward to? Poppy says, nothing much, just chilling at home. That doesn't sound like nothing much. That sounds exactly what one ought to do. Sibu, one word, sleep. How about you, Tolakele?
Honestly, John, being babied by my parents.
Yes.
I spent this whole year being an adult on very dangerous levels. I look forward to just being a girl around my parents and them asking me, what would you like to drink? What would you like to eat? And then my brother complaining that I need to do the dishes. Then my parents are like, she doesn't live here. You have to do the dishes. And I'm like, perfect.
Yes.
Love it.
So you call it being babied. Do you just sit there?
Yes.
Or you don't have to like roll your eyes and say, oh, I'm so tired. Or they just do it because they know how much it means to you.
I don't even request. My dad will just say to me, Ufuna, and then I say yes to everything. It's even better when my uncle, my dad's brother, comes over because he knows me and him are like football fans.
Yes.
So that festive season program, we just sit on the couch and all we do is just like watch sports, and then they bring us food every few hours.
So you watch the football and you give meaningful looks in the direction of the love providers. Doesn't sound like a bad way to spend a holiday. Give us your thoughts, please. What do you look forward to over the holidays on 0727021702 and 011-883-0702. Of course, just to throw out an additional thread, what if you're the person who's in the role of Tolakele's dad, which he sounds like he's really happy to do and expressing his love for his wonderful daughter and so on. But maybe you find yourself in that role of looking after everybody else's needs, and maybe that's not so great because you might have a few of your own. Anything you want to share with us about the upcoming break that I hope most of you are going to get in the holidays, you know where to get us. 072-702-1702.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, in the course of this week is the International Day in which we pay tribute and celebrate what vets in our country do, veterinarians. When I first saw that, my mind went to the vets. I have 2 cats, so that was probably my first thought, the wonderful person who looks after the 2 cats that I had. But then I thought, actually, there's a kind of a bigger conversation, not necessarily a bigger one, but another conversation, let me put it that way, where vets play an absolutely crucial role in organized agriculture, in the food security of our country, in the economy of our country. Every time they come out with GDP numbers, I think it's fair to say we see that agriculture is absolutely at least punching its weight and sometimes punching well above that. So let's find out a little bit more about the world of vets who work in that space, on the farms and cattle lots of our country. Dr. Nandipa Toyota Ndudane is a veterinarian and she is currently Chief Director and Principal of the Tsulu Agriculture College in the Eastern Cape. Dr. Ndudane, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Doctor, before we talk about the work you're doing as an educator of vets and contributing to the upskilling of this sector in our country in general, your own experience, if we go back in time a little bit, of being a vet yourself, has the work changed a lot since you were first practicing?
Yes, tremendously. When I started thinking of only state veterinarian because that was the only exposure that I had,
right,
especially for an Black African veterinarian. But since then, my world has been exposed further, and there are so many opportunities out there for veterinarians. There's working in the public sector, there's working in the food safety sector, in the environmental sector, in the pharmaceutical sector, in academia. There's working in South Africa and internationally. So there's a lot of space that has opened up in animal welfare and in One Health areas.
When you were out in the field, perhaps more than you are now, I mean, what about the job did you enjoy the most?
It was actually talking to farmers. I enjoyed advising farmers. They listen. Most have not had an interaction with a veterinarian, especially in the rural areas. So they are really eager for advice and they really take it to heart and they really follow that because they want to see their animals productive.
Yes.
I also interacted a lot with the small animals, companion animals, when I was locoming in Pretoria and in Gauteng. And there, the clientele, you also engage with the clientele, especially when it has to come to animals having chronic diseases. So you
Yes.
really have to have empathy and you have to guide the owner and understand how they are feeling and take them through the process.
So Dr. Ndudane, let's come to the present now. Your work as Chief Director and Principal at the Tsulu Agriculture College out in the Eastern Cape, but you're working with representative bodies as well. Who's signing up to study this kind of veterinary work? Give us a sense of what, if anything, the next generation of organized agriculture vets have in common.
We're currently actually in Geneva now. We're meeting with the World Veterinary Association, and we realize that we have 60% of the new students being females. That is happening across all countries. So meaning even in South Africa, I understand that at the University of Pretoria, they have more female students than male students currently. That is also happening with us at the college, because at Solo, we are offering a para-professional qualification, that of animal health technicians. We are not offering the veterinary science qualification. The veterinary science qualification is only offered in one institution in South Africa at the University of Pretoria, the Faculty of Veterinary Science at Onderstepoort.
In terms of the circumstances under which we're working, I mean, first of all, I think agriculture and animal-based agriculture is also going through a good period, but a very challenging one. Bird flu, foot and mouth disease, and so on. Are we training enough people?
That is a question. Are we training enough people? As I've indicated, there's only one institution that is offering the veterinary science qualification, that one of being a doctor.
Yes.
Is at the University of Pretoria. There are strides to open a second or two more. I'm aware that two institutions have indicated that they have a part approval or full approval for opening a second faculty for veterinary science. The issue, though, is not only for veterinarians. We must understand that veterinarians do not work in isolation and they do not work alone.
Yes.
We also need to have what we call a veterinary team, the veterinary nurses, the animal health technicians, the veterinary laboratory diagnosticians, and the veterinary technologists. Those are all part of the chain. And also, the veterinarians themselves, they also need to specialize with the current outbreaks of foot and mouth disease. The issue is we do not have enough epidemiologists, we do not have enough veterinarians that are in the lab, because we need a dynamic team that is going to be able to trace and prevent and control the disease. So we have the veterinarians coming in from the University of Pretoria, but we do not have enough of them specializing and going further with their education.
Yeah, and I suppose to change that is going to take time. I mean, you can't open a faculty or even, create courses perhaps at a low level quickly. Is there any sense of urgency about getting these things done as quickly as possible?
There is a sense of urgency. Recently, we also had a workshop with the health and welfare sector, which was trying to map up the skills that are in short supply. I think working with the industry and the sectors, we might be able to change the landscape. We need funding. We also need motivation for the veterinarians to go study further. Remember, the veterinary degree is a bit long. So by the time they finish, maybe some are getting married, they want to start family, they do not want to study further. So we need to make the postgraduate studies a bit interesting, flexible.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to plan around that. How can we make sure that following their 6 years of study, the qualified veterinarian is still eager to study further and to have funds to study further?
Dr. Ndudane, I want to get in a moment to the statistic that you gave us about this becoming a profession with an increasing number of women enrolling and getting involved it seems at all levels that you're describing. But firstly, if we can just go back in time, what drew you to become a vet?
It was actually my father. I think actually it was a combination of my father and my mother. My mother was a nurse, so she was in the health space, but my father was an animal health, was a agricultural technician.
Okay.
Then they were combined. They were doing both animal health production work and crop science work. So he pushed me further to do veterinary medicine, because at home we had some livestock and I was the one looking after the livestock, and I had to travel a distance of maybe 200 kilometers to get to the doctor.
Sure.
Who was in Kokstad. I was in a rural town in Manfred, and we had to travel to Kokstad to get medication. And that was the only veterinarian that was nearby. So I think he pushed me further to study veterinary science.
Yeah. It's interesting how circumstances can combine. So let's go back to the numbers then. You spoke of 60%. Any idea as to why more and more women are signing up to work in this area of science, first of all, but secondly in this area of medicine, because that's what it is. And do you think female vets go about things differently to men? And if so, in what way?
I believe so. I think females are born naturals. We look after things. We look
Yes.
after babies. We look after animals. We tend to have the care. I think it's natural that we tend to want to be the veterinarians, to be the doctors, to provide, because not only are we looking after the animals, but we're providing food security. We are providing the One Health issues. We are assuring the public safety. So you see all these things that are in a female. Females, we tend to want to provide and to ensure that everyone is cared for and everyone is safe. So for me, it's not surprising that more and more females are interested in this. And maybe in the past, because the maths STEM subjects were associated with males,
Yes.
and that's what drove more males in the industry than females. But since now everything is opened up and we're doing a lot of career awarenesses in the urban areas and in the rural areas, we are seeing more and more females interested to come into the field, and they excel.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Dr. Nandipa Toyota Ndudane is currently Chief Director and Principal of the Tsolo Agriculture College in the Eastern Cape. She's also the immediate past President of the South African Veterinary Council and has served on the World Veterinary Association as the Africa representative there. So, bit of a long shot. Anyone signed up to do veterinary science in some way, shape or form next year? Obviously, that'll be a young person, maybe a family member who's doing it. Give us a call on that. I'd love to hear about that. And if you've just graduated as a vet at the end of this year, well, I'd love to hear from you as well. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
The conversation around protection of whistleblowers continues. Not all whistleblowers are entirely innocent. Some whistleblowers are disgruntled participants in some of the crimes that they are now blowing the whistle about. Not all whistleblowers, I would argue, deserve the same kind of protection. I argue that you can't compare Babita Diokara with a Marius van der Merwe. They are not of the same fabric, morally speaking, ethically speaking.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries, world-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Pain management is a part of so many people's daily lives. With headaches, muscular pain, dental pain, menstrual pain, and even pain from tension. With Adcock Ingram OTC, build a pain survival pack for you and your family. With a comprehensive treatment range for mild to moderate pain, we have you covered all year round. Available over the counter at your pharmacy. Ask your pharmacist for the Adcock Ingram OTC Pain Survival Pack and visit beprepared365.co.za.
It's amazing what help can do. Help can take you from smart money moves to smart gadgets and household must-haves. With an FNB Premier Credit or Fusion card, get up to 40% back in e-bucks on devices and appliances. Open any FNB Premier account today, celebrating 25 years of helping you live the Premier life. FNB, help changes everything. TC's earn rules apply while stocks last. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive, this on the subject of vets from Joe in Westdean. I have a friend who is a vet. He counsels vets. He says it's one of the professions that experiences the highest number of suicides. When I had to put my cat down a few years ago, my vet cried with me as she did it. She told me afterwards my cat was the 5th cat she had to put down that day. Vets, Joe concludes, are truly heroes in my eyes. Your thoughts on that theme or anything else? 072 702 1702. This is 702 Drive. It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
The UDM reports Bafana Bafana coach to the Human Rights Commission, and Umalusi welcomes fast action in exam paper leak probe. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The United Democratic Movement has lodged a formal complaint with the South African Human Rights Commission over what it alleges are racist and sexist remarks made by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bruce. The comments were made at a press briefing on Wednesday. Tolagele Mganga has more.
Hugo Bruce courted controversy after expressing disappointment at defender Mbegezeli Mbogazi's late arrival for camp at the High Performance Centre in Pretoria on Wednesday. After Mbogazi arrived a day later than he was supposed to, Bruce added that he'd have a behind-closed-doors meeting with him where he would explain the kind of behavior he expects from a national team player.
So I will have a chat with him after training. And I can assure you he's a black guy, but he will get out of my room as a white guy.
The UDM's sexist complaint relates to comments the coach made about Mbogazi's agent Basia Michaels. He questioned her football knowledge after it was confirmed in early December that Mbogazi would be joining MLS side Chicago Fire in January rather than waiting for a move to Europe after the FIFA World Cup.
A nice little woman who is his agent and thinks she knows football is doing what many agents are doing. How much can I get? If she is a little bit clever, she knows that there is African and she knows that next year there is World Cup, that there will be other teams better for his career to go to and not to Chicago.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News.
Exam quality assurer Umalusi has welcomed the ongoing investigative work aimed at determining the magnitude of matric exam irregularities. The issue was raised during a media briefing by Minister of Basic Education Siviwe Gwahube earlier today. Gwahube reported cases of irregularities involving the mathematics, physical sciences and English home language exams, which were leaked using a USB storage device. The minister said the leaks involved education officials, a parent and 26 learners from 7 schools in the Pretoria area. Umalusi spokesperson Bigile Pota says they are satisfied with the steps taken by the department so far, which include a task team investigation and reporting the matter to the police.
Umalusi has noted with serious concern the issues raised during the media briefing held earlier today by the Minister of Basic Education, Ms. Siviwe Gwahube, concerning reported cases of irregularities involving NSC mathematics, physical sciences, and English home language examinations. Umalusi wishes to inform the public that it has received a preliminary report on Wednesday, 10 December, from the Department of Basic Education on the issues reported by the Minister.
Former investigating directorate head Advocate Hermione Coronia has told a panel interviewing her for the role of prosecution's boss that there is a skills catastrophe in the NPA. Coronia is one of 6 candidates vying for the top prosecutor post in the NPA. Today is the second and final day of interviews ahead of Advocate Shamila Batoye's term coming to an end next month. Khomoto Modise has more.
Advocate Hermione Cronje was Western Cape head of Asset Forfeiture Unit when she left the NPA in 2012 and was brought back in 2019 to head up the Investigating Directorate, a position she held for 3 years. In her interview today, Cronje has told the advisory panel that when she returned to the NPA, she did not realize how bad things had become. Cronje has spoken of a skills catastrophe in the NPA, saying prosecutors have been relegated to secondary legal professionals.
Saying that doesn't mean there aren't very good people in the NPA with very good experience. But as a rule, we are failing in ensuring that prosecutors have the skills that they need to come up against skilled legal professionals on the other side.
For much of her testimony, Cronje has been extremely critical of the state of the NPA, saying when she was head of IDAC, there was no space to implement what she believed the institution needed. Khomoto Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Employment in South Africa's formal non-agricultural sector edged up in the third quarter of 2025. This is according to the latest quarterly employment statistics released by Stats SA. The survey shows a gain of 29,000 jobs, with employment rising to 10.5 million in September. Nugukanya Mdambo has the details.
The community services industry recorded the highest job gains during the reporting period, adding 39,000 jobs. Modest growth also occurred in trade and mining. These gains were offset by losses in business services, manufacturing and construction. The transport and electricity industries saw no change. Despite the marginal growth quarter on quarter, the year-on-year figures paint a different picture. At least 79,000 jobs were lost between September 2024 and September 2025. Nogukanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
And Austrian lawmakers have approved a law banning headscarves in schools for girls under the age of 14. The Conservative-led government proposed the ban this year, arguing it is to protect girls from oppression. In 2019, when the country introduced a ban on headscarves in primary schools, the Constitutional Court struck it down, calling it unconstitutional and discriminatory. This time, however, the government insisted that its law is constitutional. Critics and rights groups say the law is discriminating against others and could deepen societal divisions. Gold is trading at $4,215.71 an ounce. The rand is at 16.91 to the dollar, 22.60 to the pound, 19.78 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $62.14 a barrel.
Travelling from Sandton heading towards Midrand, traffic pressure M1 northbound. This is between Greyston Drive and the Batlu interchange. Also, if you're leaving Alex, travelling towards Bedford View, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic N3 south from London Road to Van Buren, and in Edenvale, traffic sluggish R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange.
In your sport, the latest from the second T20 between India and South Africa. Hugo Bruce happy with Bafana Bafana playing just one game ahead of AFCON. And Eben Etzebeth accepts his 12-game ban as he tries to justify his actions.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at a high of 25. Pretoria 16 and 27, and Vereeniging 16 at a high of 26. The top story in EWN this hour: the UDM has lodged a formal complaint with the South African Human Rights Commission over what it alleges are racist and sexist remarks made by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bruce.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, good to have you with us. It's 8 minutes past 4 on this Thursday. Weather is weird at the moment, man. I woke up early. I had an early gym session. It was cold. It was actually really cold. And then, by the time I stepped out of the house to go and run some errands, it was still quite cold. I was wearing a fairly heavy jacket. By the time I set out for work, the sun was out. What is this? Oh, it's December. Okay. I accept it as a calendar reality, but this is not the summer that I'm used to. Anyway, hope you're having a good day. The weather is just one factor in how we get along with things. Some of you, I'm sure, have in your mind the fact that you're going to be taking a break soon. I asked the question, what is it that you are most looking forward to about having time off over the holidays, whenever those holidays might be? Raymond says, can't wait to get out on the farm and bathe and shear my sheep. Also, slaughter my broilers. Michael sums it up in a few different ways and says, respectful relationships, family time, good food, enough rest, self-discipline, and happiness. Sounds like a recipe. Indeed, Michael. Wonderful. Thank you. Please send those on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Now, in this half hour, we're going to be doing two very different kinds of stories, really. The leader of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, is meeting European partners today as they continue to try and plot a way forward on ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. We'll talk to Professor James Kerr-Lindsay, international relations expert, for his take. There seems to have been a lull for a while, but I'm sure it's all going to burst into the open again. What might happen next? And then we are going to pay tribute to someone who's just been honored as the Emerging Farmer of the Year. Tsililo Mafuga is a farmer, I think, in the Limpopo area of South Africa. His company is called Bob and Maggie Agriculture. He's going to tell us a little bit about his journey, the work he's doing, and crucially, his thoughts about the future of agriculture in our country. All that, plus business with Stephen Curtis, sport with Tola Kele, and we'll make sure that if the traffic is gnarling up and snarling up anywhere, that we give you advance warning. In fact, let's do that right now.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways, with added holiday flights to Lagos, Accra and Sao Paulo, giving you more choice and better timing. Book today at flysaa.com. Karabo Charlie, you just sent me a note saying Sandton is jammed. Well, I can't go anyway, but not good news for people who are trying to.
Yeah, if you're leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand, John, there's traffic pressure on the M1 northbound. That's from Grayston to the Bethlehem interchange. Also, if you are traveling between Alexandra and Bedfordview, bumper-to-bumper traffic. N3 southbound from London Road to Van Buren. Edenville, traffic sluggish. R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. Still in Ekurhuleni, there's an accident seen in Kempton Park. This is on the R24 eastbound, just after Barbara Road, slowing down traffic in Protea Glen, Soweto. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. Midrand, slow-moving traffic. Olifantsfontein Road, this is between the N1 and Old Pretoria Road, and in Deerdeport, there's slow-moving traffic on Sefako Makhato Drive. That's approaching Moloto Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Check in, take your seats, stretch out, sip something special and feel the holiday mood kick in long before you land. At South African Airways, every moment on board is designed to ease you into that holiday feeling. This summer, fly to Gaborone from 2,694 Rand, all-inclusive return, and with an allowance of 3 checked bags, you can take everything you need for the perfect escape. This offer is valid for sale until 31 March 2026. Book at flysaa.com or contact your nearest travel agent. At South African Airways, your holiday starts when your flight does.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Police in Mpumalanga have arrested an undocumented Zimbabwean man found with 582 passports belonging to Malawian, Zimbabwean and Mozambican nationals, alongside almost 150,000 Rand cash. And essentially what these guys do, they run this ring where they collect people's passports and they go to the border to go get them stamped for cash without the holders appearing before immigration officials. It really is quite unbelievable.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
At Auto in General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto in General business insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto in General, never not there. Auto in General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Some moments only come around once, like the Audi year-end sale. Get the Audi Q2 from 9,899 per month. With no deposit, a 90-day payment break, so you only start paying next year. Plus, a guaranteed buyback. There's limited time to show up, but unlimited time to stand out in the Audi Q2. Visit audi.co.za or your nearest Audi dealer before the 24th of December. T's and C's apply.
This festive, when your family gathers, feed them the Nando's Festive Fill-Up meal. Feed Auntie, who's in charge of the key to that storeroom. And feed that niece that makes the strict grandparents do TikTok challenges. And that cousin that watches the same movie that comes in part 1, 2, 3, 4, and many more. Yeah, you can feed her too. Gather them all for the Nando's Festive Philip meal for only $3.99. Eat at Nando's and pay 40 Rand less. Nando's, oh, what a place.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7:02 drive, it's 4:15. Let's focus on some international relations issues now. The efforts to try and end the war that was started with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's gone on for many years. The talks have gone on for a long time as well. Today, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, will be joining a number of European leaders. Some of them he's been in talks with extensively over the last few days. I'm thinking of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the French President Emmanuel Macron, and Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz. There'll be other European leaders in there as well. In preparation for that, we understand the three leaders I mentioned by name had an engagement with the US President Donald Trump. And they're talking about a larger gathering of leaders aimed at trying to solve this sometime over the weekend. Lots of false starts in getting this one sorted out. Does that mean there's no progress? Sometimes when you stall, it either means just that you've stalled, or it means that while stalled, you've managed to clarify some arguments and maybe settle some points of disagreement, even if they're minor. So let's get an overview on this, and welcome to 702 Drive, Professor James Kerr-Lindsay, international relations expert. Prof, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. From a distance, this looks very much one step forward, maybe one or two back, but the complicating thing is they appear to be walking on different roads. Is that a little pessimistic, or is something perhaps more effective starting to cohere?
Well, thank you very much, John, for the invitation to appear again. Always a pleasure. Look, you're absolutely right. I mean, we are in a very, very strange spot with what we've been seeing happening in Ukraine. Throughout this year, it's really been a roller coaster, not so much in the war between Ukraine and Russia, which is obviously a horrific conflict, but just simply trying to deal with the Trump White House.
Yes.
And where it actually stands on this Ukraine conflict. I mean, obviously, we saw those images earlier in the year where President Zelensky was sat in the Oval Office and was berated for not being grateful enough. Then it seemed that a coordinated effort by the European countries to persuade Trump that he needed to throw his support behind Ukraine. There was also a state visit to the United Kingdom where Trump was feted by King Charles, who apparently also made the message that, look, you've got to do something to protect Ukraine.
Yes.
And I think we were all in that position of sort of thinking that maybe Trump gets it now, that there'd been this utter charm offensive from NATO partners to try and persuade him. And then what do we see a few weeks ago? This sudden announcement that the United States has drawn up a peace plan. Well, in fact, it looks like Russia drew the plan up and then presented it to the United States, which essentially, I think, lost for words, but if we were to call it something, a pretty horrific document.
Yes.
That doesn't really provide the basis for a settlement. And then, of course, what we're now seeing is the Europeans trying to come back and negotiate with Trump on how that can be improved. But of course, we've got all sorts of questions now. Will the United States accept the European revisions? And of course, even if the United States does, where does that leave the talks with Russia? So it's really, really difficult to get any real sense of where we stand. You're absolutely right. This is not, all peace talks are held, if you like, to a degree behind closed doors. But this is just so confusing because it's not just about Ukraine, Russia. It's about Ukraine negotiating with the United States and the United States negotiating with Europe. So it makes it very, very difficult to get a firm sense of where we're at.
Yeah, it does seem to, when people talk about multilateral, I don't know, that word doesn't describe this, because that at least has perhaps a central point from which a whole lot of spokes might radiate. But in terms of if they can't figure this out, does this then become a situation where the Europeans give as much military and political support to Ukraine as they can, and then the war goes on? The US pretty much formally and completely withdraws any military backing for Ukraine, and then it's just, a question of last country standing?
Well, this obviously is the great worry. And I think what the Europeans will be very keen to do is, if they can't win Trump over in terms of the basis of a settlement, then they'll say, look, at least don't cut Ukraine completely loose on this. Continue to supply it with arms, intelligence, let them fight, and Europe will try to pick up the slack where it can. There are obviously all sorts of problems with that. And I know there will be people listening who are saying, well, that's horrific. The death toll is huge. This is about, we need to find a peaceful settlement. But the fundamental point here is that the plan that was put on the table would effectively hand over large parts of Ukraine to Russia. And the danger you have is that sets the most dangerous precedent I can possibly imagine for international relations. So I think you find that the Europeans are really opposed to this, as I think most of the world should be, if they're really paying attention. I think many countries feel that this is a European conflict. It doesn't have a lot to do with them. And so I think, as I say, the key aim at this stage will be to try and get Trump to agree to the European, what was 19 points when we last heard about it. It may have been refined upwards or downwards. And if, as I say, the White House can't be brought on board and eventually just gives up, it doesn't then say, right, okay, we're going to cease all support to Ukraine. So I think there's a lot going on here, which I think Europeans will be trying desperately to work with the Americans on.
Yeah, lots going on, and not always in the most visible spaces. After each gathering, there's some kind of announcement as to what was said and decided, and then they go behind closed doors again. Thank you for at least shedding some light there, Professor James Kerr, Lindsay International Relations expert, 22 minutes past 4.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, let's turn to this story now. A very, very good news story, I think, about small-scale farming in the northern part of our country. Musina, just about as far north as you can go, but connecting to much bigger agricultural projects and ventures. Tiger Brands has just named Tsililo Mafuga, who's director of an enterprise called Bob and Maggie Agriculture, as its first ever emerging Farmer of the Year. And their partnership involves the production of tomatoes that eventually find their way into various Tiger Brands products, including All Gold tomato sauce and others. Tsililo Gabriel Mafuga is, as I said, the emerging Farmer of the Year, and we're delighted to have him with us on the show. Mr. Mafuga, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. I would have thought that being a farmer, while it can be very, very satisfying, and clearly you're very good at it, it must be very nerve-wracking, because sometimes you don't have enough rain. Sometimes you have too much rain. There are insects and birds who'd like to eat your crop, and hail is never your friend. Are you a very calm man? I would think you'd have to be to do what you do.
Firstly, thank you for having me in your show.
Yes.
Yes, it's very challenging being a farmer with all the challenges that comes with farming. They do need someone who is very patient, you're right.
Yeah, patient and determined. Tell us a little bit about how you've built your business up. I don't know who Bob and Maggie are, but how small did you start and how big are you now?
It started very small, whereby I had to plant my own seedlings. Mm-hmm. It was a challenge for almost 5 years until Tiger Brands came to my rescue 3 years ago. That's when I started farming a little bit sort of commercially. By now, I'm able to, by then I was planting something like 1 hectare, which I've grown so far to be able to plant something like 8 hectares as I speak.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the connection to Tiger Brands, do they provide technical support? Is it providing a market for your produce? Describe the relationship for us, and maybe give us your thoughts about how more of this could be done in our country.
Yes, Tiger Brands do supply they do help financially seedlings. Even with this technical support, they are trying their best in that regard.
What kind of support do you think small-scale farmers like yourself need the most? Is it technical support? Is it loans? Is it helping you through some of the choppy financial waters that invariably come with the nature of your business? Where do you think the priorities should be set?
Mostly the challenge is on water supply. We do have less rain that side. Water is very scarce. So the main challenge is water. Another thing, we still have this agriculture needs machinery, equipment and all that. As small-scale farmer, we're not yet able to afford those things.
Well, it's good that you've made a start. I suspect when we speak to you in a year or two, Tsililo Mafuka, you won't be small scale. Your farm seems to be growing steadily. Tsililo Mafuka, Director of Bob and Maggie Agriculture, thanks for your time and congratulations, Emerging Farmer of the Year. 26 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Charlie.
Well, at this stage, John, traveling from Sandton to Midrand, expect more than a 20-minute delay on the M1 northbound between Ethel Oaklands and the Patlu interchange. Also, if you are traveling from Alex heading towards Bedfordview, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. N3 southbound from London Road to Van Buren. There's also slow-moving traffic in the Edenville area heading towards Bedfordview on the R24 westbound from Macro Store all the way to the Kilulis interchange. Midrand, we still have slow-moving traffic on Olifantsfontein Road. That's approaching Old Pretoria Road. Diersdorp, Pretoria, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on Sefako Makhato Drive. This is heading towards Moloto Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the man who's flown 12 hours to surprise his family for the holidays. Will they recognize him without the beard? The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a family reunion on the move. Happy holidays to every story on the road. You're the reason the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005. In proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. Rand doing well against the dollar, market doing better than it was yesterday. Smiley day or not quite yet?
Indeed. Well, the U.S. Federal Reserve cutting interest rates last night, that weakening the dollar. John, good afternoon, and that's pushing the Rand up. The strongest it's been about 3 years, I think, is my understanding. Put that together with business confidence numbers showing that we're more confident than we've been in a much longer time than that, and things do start to look a little positive. So the Rand just at 16.90 at the moment, or 16.9031 if you prefer. The JSE All Share up 0.5%, 111,620 points. Financials up 0.08%. Industrials up 1%, resources up 0.75% at the moment. Mr. Price still down dramatically after that news yesterday. They were down 13% on the day, down 5% yesterday. Investors not convinced by the case for them buying this retailer in Europe and Central Europe. Boxer and Pick and Pay in the retail sector also down. They're down by around 2% on the day. And then Dis-Chem also in the retail sector down 1.32%. So, obviously, people just watching this. Motors is down 1.43. Does seem something going on in the consumer sector. HCI up 7%, and Valterra and some of the other platinum miners up quite strongly. Valterra's up 4%, Implats is up 3.27%, Naspers up 2.83% as well on the day. So, as I was talking about business confidence, the SA Chamber of Commerce and Industry saying business confidence is higher now than at any time in the last 14 years. November 2011, John. I mean, I don't know if it's a Christmas thing, but that's the last time we felt nearly as confident as we are now. Largely because a high number of foreign tourists were in the country in November. Now, I've forgotten how to spell G20, but I think that was one of the main reasons, obviously, is that simply there were so many foreign nationals here. But, anecdotally, there are a lot more foreign tourists in Cape Town and I presume the Kruger National Park, but possibly very few on top of the Colton Centre, unfortunately. But I'm sure there'll be more to come. And so that's having a big impact at the moment, and that's pushing up confidence. In the US, index futures actually going down quite dramatically. So what happened was Oracle, they're of course in the AI crowd, they had forecasts and they suggested that in fact their shares slumped 11.4%. That's in pre-market trading. Their quarterly forecast fell short of what people were expecting. They also said that their annual spending would be up quite dramatically compared with their earlier expectations, and that is pushing index futures down at the moment. The gold price $4,220.51, platinum $1,670, Brent crude $61.09. The rand to the dollar $16.90, to the euro $19.85, to the British pound $22.69. Stephen Crotus, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Back with us around 25 minutes past 5. Right now it is 4:30. Let's find out what's happening in the news with Mbali Dlamini. Some new stats around poverty, I believe.
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. At least 23 million people in South Africa are considered poor. This is according to the lower bound poverty threshold by Stats SA. The 2023 figure is roughly 2.5 million less since 2015. Stats SA released its revised poverty trends report today, the first update in nearly 8 years. Nugukanyam Dambo has more.
According to Stats SA's national poverty lines, the lower bound poverty line is capped at 1,300 rands per person per month. At almost double the food poverty line, Stats SA says this is the threshold that forces difficult trade-offs between food and other necessities. In 2006, the poverty headcount using the lower bound threshold stood at 57%, which declined to the current 37.9% in 2023. Statistician General Rasenga Maluleke.
We can see that the lower bound poverty line is declining. So poverty is declining in South Africa.
He says while there's been progress in decreasing the poverty headcount over the last 2 decades, the pace of that progress remains slow. Nogukanyam Dambo, Eyewitness News.
The EFF believes the only way to counter President Donald Trump's tough sanctions on several countries is for the global community to unite and push back against the United States. Since Trump's re-election, the US president has imposed heavy tariffs on multiple nations, including a 30% import tax on South Africa. He has also repeated his false claim of a white genocide in South Africa as the reason for refusing to share a table with the country at any G20 engagement. Speaking to the media on the outcomes of the EFF's Central Command Team meeting today, party leader Julius Malema says countries must stand together against Trump.
Donald Trump is the new Hitler that the world is faced with, and failure to recognize this reality will result in devastating consequences for the global political and economic order.
Malema says no country can stand up against Trump on its own.
The EFF reiterates its continued call for global solidarity against Donald Trump and his reckless policies, including trade, tariff, and foreign policy, which is underpinned by a desire for war and sustaining of an economic built on military strength and imperialism rather than economic cooperation.
And an international women's rights activist says the plight of Afghan women is part of a global fight for human rights. As the world marked International Human Rights Day this week, a tribunal set up to confront an ongoing women's rights crisis in Afghanistan is set to report on its findings at The Hague today. The tribunal, convened by a coalition of Afghan civil society organizations and the Permanent People's Tribunal, was set up to expose the alleged systemic denial of women's rights in Afghanistan. Women's rights activist Malala Yousafzai says the tribunal is a reminder that women need more systemic protection to uphold their rights.
I just cannot imagine that it is, 2025, 2026, and girls can be banned from school or women can be stopped from work, and that women are punished if they dare to disobey any of these oppressive rules that they are trying to justify in the name of culture or religion.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 14 and 16 degrees and highs of between 25 and 27.
Traveling from Sandton towards Midrand, you can expect more than a 30-minute delay. This is on the M1 northbound from Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Patlu interchange. Also, if you're in the Protea Lane area, we still have bumper traffic N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558.
A top story in EWN, at least 23 million people in South Africa are considered poor, according to the lower bound poverty threshold by Stats SA.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
So based on what you have shared, how would a person know that they need to cleanse, or is it something that they just would do regularly?
Generally, to cleanse is something that you should do to keep yourself spiritually hygienic. It's part of your spiritual routine. But most people will know that they need to cleanse by them feeling a little bit heavy, a little bit depressed. When you're a positive person, you'll be able to tell that, it's a little bit more difficult for me now. You're compounded by negative circumstances for a consistent amount of time. That's when people start realizing that, no, something's changed.
Zandile Wamafu, spiritually known as Thando Lwakho, who is a spiritual healer.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Check in, take your seats, stretch out, sip something special and feel the holiday mood kick in long before you land. At South African Airways, every moment on board is designed to ease you into that holiday feeling. This summer, fly to Gaborone from 2,694 Rand, all-inclusive return. And with an allowance of 3 checked bags, you can take everything you need for the perfect escape. This offer is valid for sale until 31 March 2026. Book at flysaa.com or contact your nearest travel agent. At South African Airways, your holiday starts when your flight does.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The Financial Sector Conduct Authority finally issuing fines of more than 2 billion rand on the trading platform Bankso. It's been found guilty of lying to clients, misappropriating funds, promising unrealistic returns.
Most of the consumers, they're looking for investments that yield a better return, that give a higher interest rate. So that's where we are gullible. Now, these scammers will take opportunity of such behavior.
Eunice Sabia is an independent financial trainer and coach.
The Money Show.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
End the year on a high with instant payment. How, you ask? Sell it to We Buy Cars. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za and there you have it. A great offer within minutes. Ready to take it further? Sealing the deal with your dream ride? Explore over 12,000 vehicles on webuycars.co.za. Easy, right? With We Buy Cars, it always is.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good day, John and the team. Oh, vets are incredible. The amount of pain that they have to see. When we had to put down our Rottweiler, he was only 4, but he was afflicted with osteosarcoma. We've never cried so much. The vet was also very upset because the dog looked so healthy. But as soon as he was diagnosed, we just wanted to give him dignity and not let him continue to deal with pain. Because dogs are very good. In fact, all animals are very good at hiding pain because they don't want to be the weakest in their packs and in their heads. So, yeah, dogs are amazing. I mean, vets are amazing, vets are amazing, but yeah, they have to deal with a lot of pain, and it doesn't help when the pet owners are also bawling and crying hysterically. They are only humans, so I I feel for vets and what they have to go through daily.
Dumela Ndete John and Team Kingsley from Germiston. With regards to Europe and the Trump administration and the conflict in the Ukraine, I find it absolutely extraordinary that between all the posturing and the insults, that this conflict has almost been diverted to be about the Trump administration rather than resolving the conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. I mean, is the United States so important and so pivotal that the entire European community is unable to unite and intervene on behalf of Ukraine? Is Trump so central to global politics that a lasting solution cannot be found without his administration? It's absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, I think it is extraordinary. But I mean, my answer to your question, I would have to say the evidence would suggest is yes. I mean, first of all, the military scale, the scale of U.S. military power is a massive factor. The economic power of the United States is vast, as we know, and as we are having to navigate for ourselves. And while people pick a country, any country, Germany may want to push the United States in particular ways around the Ukraine issue, they also have their bilateral stuff that they would like to see going, at least to some degree in their favor. And then there's the other thing that, Europe talks to Ukraine and Europe talks to Donald Trump in the White House, both as an individual but as a representative of American military and economic power as well. Whoever would be in the White House to some degree would occupy that role. And he in turn talks to Russia. But the missing pieces is it doesn't seem like Europe has a line to Russia. And there are two countries involved in this war. So, yeah, I think the axis of much that's going to go on is going to be centered in Washington. That's my view, but what's yours? 011-883-0702 and 072-702-1702. It's 18 to 5.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly, quite a cricket match taking shape. Take us through it.
Well, John, South Africa are now 131 for the loss of 2 in the 13th over of the second T20 against India. At the crease is Devard Brevis on 6 alongside Quinton de Kock on 73. Switching over to the UEFA Champions League, where Mikel Arteta was full of praise for his Arsenal players. That's after they maintained their perfect record with a 3-0 victory away to Club Brugge. That win made it 6 victories from 6 matches in the league phase and capped off a memorable European night that also featured a debut for 16-year-old Marley Simon.
No, and probably as well, looking back as well with the players that we missed, but it shows, and they were all very different games. It's a completely different game to the Bayern Munich one, or the one we played in Bilbao, or the ones that we played at home. But it's good. The team can adapt to any context, and that will build confidence as well, that we can come to these grounds and win again, and that's something great.
Bafana Bafana head coach Hugo Broos has praised Osman Apollos' maturity since he's moved to Orlando Pirates. The winger made his national team debut in 2023 and has been a mainstay since, as he registered 5 goals and 8 assists. That form has carried over to his club side following his move from Polokwane City, and he's contributed 4 goals and 6 assists from his 22 matches in all competitions for the Buccaneers so far this season.
I see him working now. He works a lot. He's dangerous on the ball, good passing. He becomes very important for Orlando Pirates. And he also becomes very important for Bafana Bafana in the past games. He scored goals, he's always dangerous when he is on the ball. He helps us a lot when we don't have the ball. He progressed a lot. I'm very happy with him, even when he's small, but he has the energy of someone who is 2 times higher than him.
And All Black Ardie Sevilla was named the best rugby player in New Zealand for the 3rd time after a season in which he won his 100th Test cap and inspired Moana Pacifica to their best Super Rugby campaign. The loose forward added a 3rd Calvin R. Treman Memorial Player of the Year award to his 2019 and 2023 honours. He also walked away with the prizes for the best All Blacks player and best New Zealand Super Rugby player. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 minutes to 5. EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS OUT to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Let's find out what's happening on the roads then. Edenvale, I understand, is an area of some problems, but Karabo Chale has the complete Gauteng picture for you.
Yeah, that's if you're leaving Kempton Park heading towards Bedford View. There's about a 30-minute delay. This is in Edenvale on the R24 westbound. Between Barbara Road and the Gilulis interchange. Also leaving Alex heading towards Bedford View. We still have slow-moving traffic on the N3 southbound from London Road to Van Buren. If you're traveling from Sandton to Midrand, expect more than a 30-minute delay on the M1 northbound between Athol Oaklands and the Betlu interchange in Braamfontein. This is heading towards Boysons. There's an accident scene M1 southbound near Empire Road, causing huge delays all the way from Killarney Bends. In Midrand, there's slow-moving traffic on Olifantsfontein Road heading towards Old Pretoria Road. And in Diersdorp, there's also slow-moving traffic on Sifako Mahato Drive approaching Moloto Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The roads just aren't the same without the Outsurance pointsmen, like carols by candlelight without the carols. But even the Outsurance pointsmen need some time off this festive season. They'll be on leave from 12 December, but don't stress, they'll be back on the roads, easing the New Year's traffic congestion from 9 January 2026. The Outsurance pointsmen, getting you there quickly and safely for the past 20 years, in proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using #PointsmenLove, licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So earlier in the show, right at the beginning, in fact, around 3, we had a conversation with Cassie Jagani, who's with Uber SA, Head of Communications. They've just come out with their 2025 cravings report for South Africa. Our craving, it would seem, if we aggregate all our national cravings, is for fried chicken, much more than anything else. Malva pudding, by the way, took second place, I think way behind chicken, but nevertheless standing out and obviously winner amongst the desserts. Lots of other interesting information and statistics as well. Some people have spent a large amount of money. One restaurant received 419 orders from a single person. 1,245 South Africans placed 365 or more orders this year. I need not tell you that's more than one a day, although maybe on a particular day they ordered 2 or 3. So I just want to know if you contributed to those numbers that Uber Eats has assembled. What have been your big takeaway hits this year? What did you get that you've always liked and it didn't disappoint? What was the thing that you tried that was brand new and absolutely wowed you? And what were the misses? Sometimes there are things I find that you eat and then you decide, you know what, I don't like this as much. And then there's something that's a straight miss. Try it once, never again. So, Tolakela, I don't know to what extent you're a order-in somebody, but if you are, what has your rich experience of takeaways this year taught you?
I'm maybe twice a week.
Okay.
If I'm feeling happy about it. My go-to has been, there's a lady in Soweto, I think her name is Nosipo.
Right.
She does dumplings, braai, that whole braai setup with the dumplings, chakalaka, everything. Every Sunday when I'm not in the mood to be cooking, that's my go-to. Love her food down, even though sometimes she'll cancel an order because she's overwhelmed.
Yes.
I've made peace with that. My main thing is burgers have really just stopped being nice for me. I think because after a long day, sometimes I'll go past a drive-thru and get a burger. After a while, I'm just like, no more. The potato chips as well are also starting to irritate me. So that's been the one thing where I used to be like, I can't wait to get a burger. Now I'm just like, there's something else on the menu. But I can never go wrong with a pizza as well.
Yes.
I love a good pizza.
Is it hot enough when it arrives?
Yes.
Okay.
For me. And especially, I know there's going to be free advertising like they need anymore. The pizza from Pantry, best in the business.
Okay.
Best in the business.
And it turns up hot, eh?
Oh, John, hot, delicious, everything, all the above.
Hot enough to burn the roof of your mouth, which is a problem of a different kind. I mean, you say My contribution to the order by phone food business over the last 6 years has been hopeless. I've ordered nothing this year.
Really?
Not one thing. And if I've ordered 4 times in the last 8 years, it's probably a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think I don't know how it works.
Do you cook a lot, or you just go to the restaurant?
No,
John. Teach me your discipline, because
it's not discipline. I mean, to be honest, when I say yes, I cook. In our household, we cook. I tend to be the kind of chop things, set the table guy.
Wow.
Because I'm home late. So I'm blessed that that's something my wife really enjoys on weekends. I'm a bit more involved. But I've contributed nothing to this industry. I'm ashamed.
You're so disciplined, because I have like a rule. If I can go 5 days without ordering, guess what my reward is? Ordering.
Yes, that's right. But that's how discipline works. Doesn't mean you stop. It means you just have less. Karabo Chale,
I'm just like you, John.
Yes.
I didn't order this year. I think the last time I
Yes.
ordered through these call things, it was maybe 2 years ago. I can't even remember why and when, but my go-to takeaway is hot wings.
Okay.
I love my hot wings. I'll never.
But you go there.
I go there.
And they know you.
I prefer going to the outlet than actually calling, because I get anxious. Like, when are you getting here? All this stuff. So I'll prefer to go there, order it, and then wait for them to make it, and then I receive it myself and take it home.
And are you that guy where they say, "Hey, boss, your usual"?
Yeah. Yes.
Not quite. Okay.
100%.
You
Yeah.
that
No,
guy.
my hot wings, they know already.
I've always wanted to be that guy, but I guess if you want to be that guy, you've actually got to go out and buy some things. 9 minutes to 5. Your stories of ordering food over the year, hits, misses, and maybe some interesting interactions. Part of, by the way, this Cravings Report story is they also have a section called Love Actually, Essays version, where they look at some of the notes that gets placed and some of the order patterns that suggest there's a lot of love going on as the motorbike draws near. 9 minutes to 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, I've been asking you what you're looking forward to doing over the holiday period, whatever break you might get. And I know for some people, the answer might be actually, during this period, I'm going to spend some time fixing up my house. Or maybe fixing up the house in the place that you call home, because we've had that conversation before, where people live, work in Johannesburg, but there's another part of South Africa, often small town or rural, that is a place they call home, and it's to do with either where they grew up, it might be roots of a different kind, generations of family who have lived in that place and been marked by it and made their mark there as well. But some people are going to spend some time fixing up their homes, doing some renovations. And I know people who find it relaxing. I am not one of them. But somebody who knows a lot about this is Bill Siziba. He's founder and CEO of Kayalako Properties. Bill, welcome. It's good to have you with us back on the show again. Some people may be looking forward to the renovations, but some other people will be saying, got to do it, but I'm not looking forward to it because it stresses me out. One of the stresses is budgeting and making sure that you don't run out of material before the job is actually done. Is this a good time? I mean, are there deals out there? Is it a good time to be doing renovations from a price point of view?
John, thanks for having me. This time of the season and the year is actually one of the best times to actually get, your supplies for renovations. We've just had Black Friday in November,
Yes.
and a lot of businesses and suppliers are really trying to get rid of that 2025 inventory. So I know that a lot of homeowners want to keep the money, hold the money, waiting for January, but actually November and December, you can actually get a lot of discounts. You can negotiate. It's a very good time.
Would you recommend that rather than embarking on something huge, you take on maybe a few smaller projects, keep as busy as you plan to be? I'm just thinking, if you want to combine a little bit of DIY with a cold one at lunch, it's probably not a good idea to be replacing the roof.
No, absolutely. You can't be having a cold one while on the roof, But I think it's also a good time where you're probably going to have a lot of time off work. So if you are going to hire a professional contractor, it gives you that opportunity to actually, project manage. So you don't have to pay a project manager. So you can definitely have some savings there. But definitely, yes, a lot of DIY work is a way of being cost effective. Painting is not too much of a hectic job to do in the interior. Of course, if you're doing your roof, I'd advise that you get a professional.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that always strikes me about anything to do with the home is that it's partly a financial endeavor, it's a planning and logistical exercise, but it also is often a real test of relationships. And I can imagine conversations, you point proudly to the 3 walls that you've done in a room, and the other person says, yellow, I thought we agreed on green, You in your job often work with people on reaching kinds of compromises. Would you suggest you get that all in place and possibly in writing before you hit mid-December?
No, absolutely. There's something called a minor works agreement, which is what we use for, your small scale renovation projects. Now, the minor works agreement is one of the JBCC contracts, which basically covers the body that covers both the consumer as well as contractors. And it's beneficial to, have your color codes if you are going to be painting, have a code. Don't just say yellow, but there's different shades of yellow. So make sure that you get things color coded, make sure you specify the material so that you're not wasting money. The last thing you want is that during this festive season, you've made such a hash of your renovations and you have to fix things in 2026.
Yes. And finally, I mean, would you generally say that if you've got plans to use this time to do some fixing, maybe see if across your kind of friendship or family ecosystem that you kind of agree Christmas lunch is not going to be at you this year? Because I know what certainly happened to me is you say, no, we'll be ready easily by the 23rd or whatever D-Day is for a particular event. And then it doesn't look like happening that way. Then you start rushing and, it might end in some substantial tears before you know it.
Yeah, no, the thing to do is to really take your time when it comes to renovations. Most likely, the time that you've got is going to be too short. We always have expectations and we try and overdo our expectations. But if you're not a professional, if you're doing this DIY, give yourself some leeway, give yourself some time to actually enjoy. You might even learn a new skill.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bill Siziba, founder and CEO of Kailako Properties. I don't know, have you got some project plans for the holidays? Not planning to go away, enjoying it, to be hoping that it's nice, quiet times, if they're not big queues, if you need to stop off at a hardware store to procure some tiles or whatever it might be. If you've got a project planned, let us know. If you have had a project over the festive season that didn't go so well, but you're able to laugh at it now, well, we could use a laugh as well. So get us, please, on 072 702 1702. Some of your takeaway hits and misses we've got. And what are you looking forward to doing this December holidays? Modise says, a peaceful Gauteng. All the migrants from KZN and Limpopo have gone, and puts in an etc. just to make sure that he is not ruling out or picking on those 2 provinces. Presumably the etc. includes the other 6. 2 minutes to 5.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
A criminal complaint has been opened against basic education officials and a parent allegedly involved in a matric exam paper leak detected in Pretoria. Basic Education Minister Sivyo Kwagube says an investigation found anomalies during the marking process. The department discovered that the leak involved 26 matriculants from 7 schools.
And this is quite important, that we're not only just following our own internal processes of the suspension of these employees, but there are criminal elements of being in possession of stolen material of the state.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Every December, it's the same story. New toys, new clothes, and more takeaways. And by January, the bonus is gone. Grow it, don't blow it. With a Netbank investment. Invest 100,000 Rand or more in a Netbank 12-month electronic fixed deposit account and stand a chance to win 50,000 Rand. Invest your bonus and grow your future. See money differently. Bank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Last December, you put in new floors. Come New Year's, your visitors were out the door. And the new floor went from fresh tiles to don't step on a crack or you'll break umama's back. Now, abantu bazothini when they see the kids playing the Squid Game's hopscotch on those same cracked tiles from last year. Avoid the embarrassment this festive. Make smarter decisions for your home. Visit Cash Build for quality tiles, adhesive and tools at the lowest prices. Cash Build.
Naked people run faster because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time working on their personal bests. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
This is EWN.
The UDM reports the Bafana Bafana coach to the Human Rights Commission, and police investigate a murder case following alleged mob attack in Soweto. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The United Democratic Movement has lodged a formal complaint with the South African Human Rights Commission over what it alleges are racist and sexist remarks made by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bruce. The comments were made at a press briefing on Wednesday. Tolagele Mganga has more.
Hugo Bruce courted controversy after expressing disappointment at defender Mbegezeli Mbogazi's late arrival for camp at the High Performance Centre in Pretoria on Wednesday. After Mbogazi arrived a day later than he was supposed to, Bruce added that he'd have a behind-closed-doors meeting with him where he would explain the kind of behaviour he expects from a national team player.
So I will have a chat with him after training. And I can assure you he's a black guy, but he will get out of my room as a white guy.
The UDM's sexist complaint relates to comments the coach made about Mbogazi's agent Basia Michaels. He questioned her football knowledge after it was confirmed in early December that Mbogazi would be joining MLS side Chicago Fire in January rather than waiting for a move to Europe after the FIFA World Cup.
A nice little woman who is his agent and thinks she knows football is doing what many agents are doing. How much can I get? If she is a little bit clever, she knows that there is Afghan and she knows that next year there is World Cup, that there will be other teams better for his career to go to and not to Chicago.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News.
EFF leader Julius Malema says Duduzile Zuma Sambudla should face the law if she did in fact lure 17 men to fight in the Russia-Ukraine war. Zuma Sambudla recently resigned as a member of parliament after allegations emerged that she had recruited the men under false pretenses. It's understood the group was told they were travelling to the country for bodyguard training for her father's Umkhonto weSizwe party. Alfa Ramshwana has more.
While Duduzile Zuma Sambudla's own sister has opened a case against her for allegedly luring 17 men to Russia, she's not yet been charged or arrested. EFF leader Julius Malema says the allegations against Zuma Sambudla are serious and should be handled accordingly.
And if she's engaged in illegalities, the law must take its own course and she must be held accountable if she has done that.
Malema says police and the Hawks must be given space to conduct their investigations.
I saw people opening cases against her and I'm very conflicted because Dudu, anyway, she's my friend. So maybe SD should have responded to that one. So I just saw people line up to open a case.
Meanwhile, in a similar matter, 5 people have been arrested, including 2 suspects accused of recruiting 3 young men to the Russian front lines. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
Advocate Hermione Cronje has told a panel interviewing her for the role of NPA head that former prosecution's bosses appointed people who were loyal to their faction. Cronje is one of 6 candidates vying for the role of National Director of Public Prosecutions. The successful candidate will begin their work in February when Shamila Batoye's term as the current National Prosecuting Authority head comes to an end next next month. Khomotso Modise has more.
One of the questions asked by the panelists to each candidate contending for the top job at the NPA is whether they are aware of any capture within the organization. When Advocate Hermione Cronje was asked this question, she recalled being part of interviews for junior state advocate positions, and senior officials, including former NPA head Advocate Menzies Melani, was in the interview.
And Advocate Jiba was also there, and I couldn't understand the purpose of this, but as the interviews unfolded, it was very clear to me that the purpose was to appoint people loyal to what they considered their faction and not people loyal to what they considered the other faction, which was the Willie Hofmeyr faction.
When asked if she believes the NPA is currently captured, Cronje said it's inevitable that there will be attempts to capture the NPA. She says the NPA will never be free from allegations of capture because its actions affect people's lives. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Police are investigating a case of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder after an alleged mob justice attack in Diepkloof, Soweto. It's understood the group of young men was targeted by the community in the early hours of this morning. Gauteng police arrived on the scene to find 4 males stripped naked with visible injuries. Police spokesperson Dimakatso Nevuhulwi has confirmed, a 19-year-old was declared dead on the scene. She says 3 others are being treated for their injuries in hospital.
The circumstances surrounding the incident are unknown at this stage, and police will be investigating a case of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. The community is urged to allow the police to do their work.
And Mexico has approved up to 50% tariffs on China and other countries. The bill, spearheaded by the president, was backed by the Senate on Wednesday. This means there will be an increase on imports of cars, textiles, clothing, plastic appliances and other products. The other countries that will be affected are South Korea, India, Indonesia, Russia, Thailand, Turkey, Taiwan, as well as Brazil. Gold is trading at $4,215.71 an ounce. The rand is at 16.91 to the dollar, 22.60 to the pound, 19.78 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $62.14 a barrel.
Edenville heading towards Germiston, you can expect about a 30-minute delay on the R24 westbound from Macro Store all the way to the Kilulis interchange. Also leaving Alex heading towards Bedfordview, bumper-to-bumper traffic. N3 southbound from the Batoon interchange to Van Buren, and in Braamfontein. There's an accident scene on the M1 southbound near Empire Road, causing heavy delays from Killarney Bends.
In your sport, the latest from the second T20 between India and South Africa. Hugo Broos happy with Bafana Bafana playing just 1 game ahead of AFCON. And Eben Etzebeth accepts his 12-game ban as he tries to justify his actions.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at a high of 25. Pretoria 16 and 27, and Vereniging 16 at a high of 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the UDM has lodged a formal complaint with the Human Rights Commission over what it alleges are racist and sexist remarks made by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Broos.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 5. Good to have you with us on this Thursday. This is the last hour of the show. Of course, there's loads of excellent radio coming up over the next while here on 7:02 Drive. Stephen Curtis hosts the Money Show between 6 and 8. He's with us in about 20 minutes' time just to tell us how the markets went today. Rand doing well against the dollar, not as well against the euro and the pound, but some pretty good signs from the JSE as well, which appears to have had a good day. What kind of day have you had? If you just want to tell us about something special and wonderful that happened today, well, we'd love to hear about it. Maybe some good news that sets you up well for 2023. 26. We could all use that, I think. Coming up on the show, Matric exam results, of course, is the way in which many people start off a brand new year, waiting for them, celebrating them, scratching their heads over them. But unfortunately, in the news today, I was about to say for all the wrong reasons, but I don't believe the briefing given by Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwachube was all bad news. Yes, there was interference with the process. There was the stealing, a criminal act of 7 exam papers and the sharing of those exam papers and other information, by the way, with learners, we understand, at 7 schools in the Tshwane area. So there's going to be an investigation into that. That is the bad news, because you never want that to happen. And my feelings certainly go out because the news will eventually spread via the grapevine and also via more formal platforms of which these schools are. And then, of course, for the learners who go to those schools, teachers and parents, that becomes a very difficult and torrid time filled with a lot of uncertainty. But I do think the upside of all of this is the way in which this was detected. It does appear that there are systems in place in the marking process and perhaps elsewhere in the matric process where this kind of fraud is detected, which doesn't mean there aren't still holes. And I can think of a couple that come to mind for me. But that's the good news, at least, that it was discovered in the system rather than some other kind of expose. But what is the perspective from teachers, and particularly from the organized trade unions that represent teachers? Basil Manuel heads the Teachers Union NAPTOSA, and we will get his perspective. Many of his members would have been invigilators, possibly exam markers as well. And I'm sure he's been having conversations that will shed a lot of light on what I'm trying to understand and the many questions that I'm sure you have. By the way, I did say earlier, if you've been a matric exam marker and you have a story to tell or something to share, maybe give us a ring on 011 883 0702. If you've been an invigilator, I'm keen to know what's that like, having to pace up and down and keep an eye on all these learners. I guess I would think it gets a little dull, but you've got to be vigilant and do it as well as you can. You may have a story to tell on that as well. 072 702 1702. It's 11 minutes past 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John. This is Selma from Roodepoort. Our favorites are fish and chips and pizzas. Those are our favorites for takeaway. So we only normally get them over the weekend, and just one per weekend. Otherwise, it costs too much. Thanks for a lovely show. Bye.
Dr. John, as a migrant from Limpopo, this year I'm not going anywhere. I want to see what Joburgers see when the migrants are gone. This migrant is staying put.
Okay, well, we'll look out for you. Actually, I'm going to be out of Joburg, but I'm going to be back in Joburg earlier when it's still quiet. So I will check out and see for that. Yeah, lots of people are wanting to talk about vets and just absolutely full of praise for the work that vets do. I'll share a couple of those with you a little bit later. But there is some traffic out there. I think we need to make sure you know where you need to go. Let's do that right now.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Atterbury Road in Pretoria. Troubles there.
Yeah, to be specific, in Ferry Glen, Tshwane, there's bumper traffic on Atterbury Road between Solomon Mahlangu and January Masilela. Dierteport, still in Pretoria, there's slow-moving traffic on Sifako Makhato Drive. Approaching Moloto Road in Edenvale, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay on the R24 westbound from Macro Store all the way to the Kilulis interchange. Leaving Alexandra heading towards Bedfordview, bumper-to-bumper traffic still on the N3 southbound. This is from the Beklu interchange all the way to Van Buren. Traveling from Sandton to Midrand, expect about a 30-minute delay. M1 northbound from Ethel Oakland to the Beklu interchange. Also in Braamfontein, traffic is a bit sluggish on the M1 southbound. This is between Killarney Benz and Empire Road due to an earlier accident. And in Midrand, slow-moving traffic on Olifantsfontein Road. This is approaching Old Pretoria Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The roads just aren't the same without the outsurance pointsmen, like the family reunion without that uncle who makes everyone laugh with his dad jokes. But even the outsurance pointsmen do need some time off. They'll be on leave from 12 December, but they will be back on the roads, easing the New Year's traffic congestion from 9 January 2026. The outsurance pointsmen getting you there quickly and safely for the past 20 years. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove, licensed insurer and FSP.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
You disappeared at some point, like you took a break. I don't know what to call it. What was happening at the time and what made you decide to pause a little bit?
There was so much. I think a lot of people don't realize how much pressure an artist can be in. I remember I was at a gig where, it felt like every other gig we had done. Same kind of vibe. It's like the little Notende, the artist who was writing songs and dancing. She said, so is this all you're going to do? You're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And you know that there's so much more to you.
Because a true artist
as an
will be frustrated by that.
You see?
Notende Madumo.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries, world-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
You could spend 10 minutes trying to fix the office printer, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 45142. Like 65-year-old Helena, who now pays an incredibly low 398 Rand a month for her 2025 Hyundai Extra. With Outsurance, you get the legendary Out Bonus that pays you a percentage of your premiums back if you're claim-free. SMS out to 45142. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
At Checkers, we do more so you get extra this Christmas with festive savings like Dairy Made Country Fresh Ice Cream, 1.8 litres for $54.99, and Parmalat Cheddar or Gouda Cheese, 850 grams for $109.99. Plus, stand a chance to win your share of 7 million Rand in prizes. Simply buy any 3 qualifying products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060. T&Cs apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Some of you sharing your hits and misses in terms of ordering food online through an app or however it is that you do it. Ntoshang. A hit, Woolies Goodies, sans the stunning black bag. Yeah, they've been in the news a little bit. And a miss, Uber driver jetting away with our 2 boxes of pizza, pretending to be lost until they cancelled the trip. That's not good. 18 minutes past 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Right, let's focus on a really important story today. Quite early in the morning, the Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Gwachube, and her colleagues gave substantial details in which they announced that pupils at 7 schools in Pretoria had access to matric exam papers in 3 subjects before they were written. English Home Language, papers 1, 2, and 3, Maths, papers 1 and 2, Physical Science, papers 1 and 2. So 7 papers in all. I think I did say earlier 7 subjects, 3 subjects and 7 papers. So, couple of points made by the minister. I'm just recapping and I'll keep it brief. She felt that this showed that what they call investigative marking actually works, that the system makes it very clear when some kind of fraud is being perpetrated, because that's exactly what this is. There'll be investigations. They've spoken to some of the pupils involved, and it appears as if this pupils have admitted that this is what they did. 2 DBE officials have been suspended. But none of this sense that action is being taken and systems are doing what they should never necessarily prevent us from asking some other questions as well, because I think there's still quite a few. Basil Manuel is Executive Director of the Teachers Organisation, NAPTOSA, the National Professional Teachers Organisation of South Africa. Mr. Manuel, welcome. Thanks very much for your time. I'm sure, like many of us, you watched the minister's briefing and you've followed the conversation since. A fairly robust, I think, insistence from the minister and others in the department that while this is A, a problem, and B, deeply regrettable, it does suggest that the monitoring systems are robust and vigilant. Would you agree with that?
Good afternoon, John. Well, yes, I will agree to a certain extent. Because what it has shown is that our markers are alert. Because, in marking, and I've been in the matric marking scenario, it is not so much what learners get correct as much as what they get incorrect. And all of them get the same things incorrect, and even the misspelt words. And that starts the alert going off. And when one signal starts, you start looking a little more carefully. So I want to acknowledge the markers for being alert and ensuring that, in fact, they picked this up relatively quickly. It was reported. But there are things that don't speak to the robustness. These are long-serving employees in the department, and it seems they had ready access. And maybe that part ought to have been tighter,
yes,
where access, even with long-serving employees, has to be more guarded, given what is there under lock and key, and somebody did on a memory stick, which sort of other questions from that action too. So yes and no.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you say. I mean, the one thing I wanted to better understand, I can understand when you see patterns in, for example, an English exam, but maybe this just tells you I last did maths in 1976. So it is a while ago. But my understanding of a maths exam is the similarity in answers would be what you would expect, because the answer's either right or wrong. How would you pick it up in maths?
In maths too, and remember they had the memorandum, and
Yes.
certain things that you do, memoranda normally have variations of what the answer could be like.
Right.
And some variations are not taught as per the norm, but there may be a teacher that does that. And so you have that. And when everybody in a particular area is showing a particular answer in a particular way that is not quite the norm, you
Yes.
start looking a little more carefully. So there are various things. But as I said, only an alert person will pick it up. And of course, it doesn't get picked up simply because it's screaming out at you.
Yes.
If you're marking the entire section, you will pick it up. But sometimes, depending on the marking centers, people mark sections of a question.
Right.
That's dangerous, because you won't pick it up then.
I want to just run what I think the movie is and then ask you a question, because there's something that puzzles me. Basil Manuel, so there are the fraudsters in the Department of Basic Education. They illegally gain access to the exam material. They put it on sticks and then presumably for some kind of financial or personal gain of whatever kind, they then share this with learners who are about to sit the exam. How would the learners get that material into the exam? I mean, did they commit all of this to memory? And it doesn't sound like they did, because you wouldn't then have the repetition of answers across more than one candidate, which was the trigger for the investigation. when you go into a matric exam, what are you allowed to take with you? In my day, it was a pen.
Well, it's a maths paper, pen. Certain papers allow for a calculator, of course, additional paper.
Okay, Basil, I wonder if I could just ask you to move around a little bit. The line we had with you was decent. It's not great now. If you could just shift your position, I don't know, north, south, east, west, give them all a try. I thought I heard you there. One more try. Have we still got you, Basil? Yeah. No, I'm frustrated. This is important. I really wanted to understand better how the exam system works. If you're a teacher, if you're a parent, if you are a matric pupil of more recent vintage than myself, tell me, what are you allowed to take into an exam? Because it's one thing to get all this stuff, but unless you've got a formidable memory, we used to talk about crib notes, which were literally little bits of paper that you would try and, slip into your socks or whatever. And my handwriting was always too large and untidy. We'll get Basil Manuel back in a moment. Stay with us.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and team. To the caller who just said she wants to see what Joburg is like at this time when all the migrants who've left come back. Joburg is wonderful at that time of year. I'm not there now, but it's great. Everyone's gone. You've got the roads to yourself. If you're driving, if you want to drive, it's just fantastic. And the weather is lovely. Unpredictable right now, but it's lovely. Sarah from How to Be a Sport.
Yeah, I've had a few Joburgs over that sort of 18th, 19th, 20th, all the way through to New Year. A few of those periods in my life that I've spent in Joburg. And I agree, I've actually quite enjoyed it. But I would have to say, on balance, I really do prefer to get out of Joburg for that part of the year, come back nice and early in January. But hey, not everybody is free to make those choices. You've got school holidays that you have to factor in if you're involved in the lives of young people. Okay, we're struggling to get Basil Manuel back, but I would like to hear from people who've been in exams and know what you're allowed to take in, anyone who's done marking or invigilation, and in general. I don't know if you listened to the press conference from first the minister, but I must stress there were other people from the department weighing in and giving details and responding to questions. I thought overall they did a pretty good job, but I think there are some questions that perhaps haven't quite been answered. I think we've got some help.
Evening, John and 702 listeners. I matriculated in 2010, and I seem to remember getting past exam papers from my teachers, and especially for English and Afrikaans language, and using those past papers to study. And I remember very distinctly some of those questions being in the actual exams that I ended up doing. So I'm sure these anomalies can also be put down to something like the questions being reused from past exam papers. Surely this is not all some big conspiracy. It also just seems like a little bit hectic to do this national investigation that's on the news when if the students are smart enough to get hold of the exam papers and memorize them rote for their exam, surely they're smart enough to just have earned their matric certificate. Just call it evens,
Yeah, I don't have that view of it at all. I must be honest. I mean, if you didn't have, for example, let's put the students to one side. The adults, if they've done what they said they've done, have committed a criminal act. And I think we need to get really serious about this. This is not a minor thing, because even though the direct beneficiaries may be a small number, and there was nothing in the act to prevent them from sharing these papers with a vast number of people. They maybe took a strategic decision not to do that because the risk to themselves would have been greater. I get that some questions may pop up again, but I would have thought, and yeah, this may be a question to pose to the people doing the inquiry. But if those questions were not in previous exam papers, and if the total pattern of answers given was not explicable against that particular explanation, then yeah, I think it should be a national inquiry. It's one of the biggest things we do, as the minister said, apart from elections and some other major things, national census. This is a major national effort. And if people are doing it for personal gain and committing crimes in the process, I have no interest in seeing them take it lightly. And yeah, calling it quits doesn't make sense to me. But maybe your view's different. Share it, please. 072 702 1702.
EWN Business.
Stephen Critters, very good afternoon to you. What's happened on the markets today and what can we look forward to tonight on The Money Show?
Good afternoon, John. Well, just in the last hour, the rand strengthening significantly, going below 16.90 to the dollar and doing quite nicely, actually, partly because of the decision by the U.S. Federal Reserve last night to cut interest rates there, weakening the dollar. But still, the rand hasn't been here for a very long time. The JSE All-Share ending the day positive too, up 0.97% at 112,124 points. Financials are up 0.29. Industrials up 1% and resources up nearly 2%, 1.92. All of that, of course, helps. I must just point out Mr. Price, John, and I mentioned them yesterday. They were down dramatically yesterday. They were going ex-dividend is one part of it, but the other big part of it was the fact that they had spent so much money on this particular company in Europe and Central Europe. They're down again today, 3.6%. We'll speak to our market commentator tonight, Veterinary Redelinghuis, just a little bit about that. This does happen quite often, actually. A company buying another company does tend to go down in value. We'll talk a bit more about that. TRD Gold also down 2.5%, and PSG Finance down 2.22%, while Quilt is down 1.64%, and then Pick and Pay are down 1.53%. Boxer also down on the day. Good day for HCI. They're up 7%, while the platinum producers are doing nicely. Volterra up 4%, and Naspers and Prosus both up by nearly 2.5%. I'm presuming that's related to the IPO they did in India yesterday, which did very, very well. Sappi up 3.4%, and some of the other gold shares doing quite nicely. The SA Chamber of Commerce and Industry suggesting business confidence higher now than at any time in the last 14 years, partly because of the sheer number of people who are here for the G20 and the B20 that are boosting business confidence, but still, it does seem that things are going very nicely at the moment. In the US, not so good. So what happened was Oracle, they're obviously in the AI business, they said that they were going to spend a lot more money than they'd previously thought. Their quarterly forecast was quite a lot short of analysts' forecasts, and as a result, while the Dow Jones is up 0.56, the Nasdaq is down 1.19, and the S&P 500 is down 0.6% on the day. The gold price $4,237.11, platinum $1,677.53, Brent crude strengthening a little, $61.12. John, I thought there might be a bit more of an impact from the U.S. seizure of that Venezuelan oil tanker. It doesn't seem to be having a big impact on the oil price at the moment, I must just say. The question, of course, is what happens there next is really the story. The rand to the dollar, 16.87. Very nice. To the euro, 19.81. To the British pound, 22.65. On the Money Show tonight, more on business confidence, more on what the Competition Commission is doing around minority shareholders. John, we're also going to focus a little bit on the gig economy, why we're all moving from, many people who are working now, their parents had one job.
Yes.
Now so many people have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 jobs, and why that is. Other countries are doing it too, but we seem to be doing that quite aggressively. In investment school tonight, you may remember the talk about JIBAR. It's a reference rate that's being phased out in favor of Zeronia. I realize these both sound like characters from Shakespeare plays, but in fact, they're reference interest rates. I'm really not making it up.
No,
that's a very curious.
Why would you? I would never, ever suggest that you would.
We'll get to the bottom of why JIBAR is being phased out and why Zeronia is taking over in investment school tonight. Stephen Critters, EWN Business.
Sound a bit like the second one. Sounds a bit like a prescription drug. I've I'm coming off Zeronia or going on to Zeronia. Anyway, it will all be explained in the show that explains so much. The Money Show between 6 and 8. 27 minutes to 6. Bali Dlamini joins us now with the very latest Eyewitness News. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says his department is starting to break the hold the construction mafia has had on government infrastructure projects. In KwaZulu-Natal, it's been a year since a project in the province has been interfered with. Today, McPherson has reported that since a pact was signed at a national construction summit in Durban in November last year, more than 700 cases related to the so-called construction mafia have been lodged. He adds that at least 250 people have been arrested in connection with these complaints. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says with greater police involvement, significant progress has been made to lessen the grip of the construction mafia on government building sites. He says construction companies have reported regaining 80% of the construction hours previously lost to work stoppages caused by the interference on projects.
These early indicators show that confidence is slowly beginning to be restored in the sector.
McPherson says in the last year, 176 people have been convicted for site stoppages, violence and intimidation.
So that proactive security response has shown people that if they try and stop sites, that there will be a consequence for it.
The minister has ascribed the success to a combination of factors, including a dedicated SAPS official in every province overseeing complaints and improved communication with local communities. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Building owners found to be connecting electricity illegally in Tshwane will be fined 300,000 rand in penalties. Officials from the Bad Buildings Division inspected a privately owned building in Sunnyside today. They were joined by Metro Police officials from the Human Settlements Department, electricity as well as water officials. First on the agenda was a 17-story building in Sunnyside, Pretoria. Since the building was privately owned, inspectors assessed the outside of the building while waiting for access. Chairperson of the committee, Kulufelo Mokhodi, explains the reason for that visit.
We are concerned about their accounts, their rates and taxes, their water. There's already, we suspect that they've breached the water and also their electricity.
And in Indonesia, flood victims are struggling to rebuild after heavy rainfall and flooding battered the nation. The devastating weather closed in on the area earlier today, leaving residents frustrated over relief efforts. The Disaster Mitigation Agency says residents have lost hope in government, saying the pace of relief efforts has been slow. Tropical storms and monsoon rains have pummeled Southeast and South Asia this month, triggering landslides and flash floods from the rainforests of Sumatra to the plantations in Sri Lanka. Experts say more rain is predicted. A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 14 and 16 degrees and highs of between 25 and 27.
Very clear in Pretoria, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Atterbury Road between Solomon Mahlangu and January Masilela due to an earlier accident. There's also slow-moving traffic in the area on Solomon Mahlangu between Atterbury and Linwood Road. In Edenvale, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay R24 westbound between Macro Store and the Kilulis interchange.
The top story in EWN, Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says his department is starting to break the hold that the construction mafia has had on government infrastructure projects.
702 afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
So based on what you have shared, how would a person know that they need to cleanse, or is it something that they just would do regularly?
Generally, to cleanse is something that you should do to keep yourself spiritually hygienic. It's part of your spiritual routine. But most people will know that they need to cleanse by them feeling a little bit heavy, a little bit depressed. You know, when you're a positive person, you'll be able to tell that, you know what, it's a little bit more difficult for me now. You're compounded by negative circumstances for a consistent amount of time. That's when people start realizing that, no, something's changed.
Zandile Wamafu, spiritually known as Tando Lwako, who is a spiritual healer.
702 afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Naked people are totally zen because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time meditating and balancing their chakras. With Naked, You can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds, and it's all online, so that means no long phone calls. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start meditating like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
What's the secret to turning on success? Easy. The right partnership. With Telkom Business, get solutions that elevate your business. A reliable internet connection that keeps your team on track? Get fiber. An integrated unified communications tool. Get Cloud PABX. Connectivity that keeps up with the festive rush? Get unlimited LTE.
This summer, your business deserves the best. Visit telkom.co.za/business for deals that grow your business. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're invited to the Red Ball Festival at DP World Wanderers Stadium. Celebrate cricket with activities, prizes, and free Ola ice creams for the first 200 guests. Meet Ryan Rickleton with the ICC World Test Championship Mace. Enjoy a picnic on the field and let kids join a free masterclass with Hashim Amla and Alan Donald. Plus, giveaways, stadium tours, and a grand prize of 2 return flights to Cape Town from Lift Airlines. Get your tickets at cricket.co.za. Hashtag the pride of Jozi. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
South Africa's rotten, John. Like the amount of like dishonesty and corruption and inefficiencies, it's in everything that we do. It's in everybody. Like nobody has got integrity anymore. I mean, I have no words for this Matric debacle. So, yeah, they should thoroughly investigate what happened and everybody should be fired. You know, those kids should rewrite. Yeah, anonymous.
Hi, John. I think for a student who has taken an answer sheet, they will concentrate on the area in the exam that they know that they are weak, because you'll find that they know they've got some knowledge, and the cheating part is so that they can better themselves in the areas that they are weak, in the most difficult questions, in the big scoring type of questions. So it's not going to take a formidable memory. Each person will look at their area and choose to say, okay, so this question, that question, that question. Shivers in Boxburg.
John, just referring to your previous caller who called in commending Johannesburg on being such a pleasant place during this time of the year, mainly because schools are on holiday and people are gone away on vacation or back to their home provinces. What should normally be a beautiful time of the year and a pleasant time of the year is unfortunately not, because I've been stuck in traffic for the last couple of days because the traffic lights haven't been working. Refer specifically to R55 and Woodmead. Traffic lights just hasn't been working. So a time of the year where you should be enjoying being around Johannesburg is not, because JRA can't get their act together. Hopefully next year is going to be better. Thank you, John. Lovely show. Eugene Santon.
Yeah, a lot of dismay in that first note. You know, that everybody, I think, start off saying that everything has been corrupted, and I would frame that slightly differently. But I'm not a million miles away from agreeing with what you're saying. I think there is no area of our lives that has not been corrupted. You know, you just look at the news today that 161 million rands worth of money defrauded during the COVID period is now the subject of an investigation by the SIU. I mean, one would have thought, I don't know why one would have thought it, because there's no reason to have had any optimism in that regard. But naively, I believed as COVID descended on the country that there would be a sense of, okay, let's take a little break from all of this because we are facing such perilous times. But no, that isn't what happened. I don't think everybody is corrupted. In fact, I know that that's simply not true. And it's because we are in this fight over these things. And some days it feels like the fight is not being lost, but doesn't have any real prospect of being won. But I think battle is on, and I think there are people on the right side of this battling hard. Whether they win, whether we win, I have no idea. It's hard to tell. Some days I'm more positive than others. It's 16 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
So, Tolakele, South Africa doing way better in this T20 than last time out. Give us the details.
Well, John, they posted 213 for 4 in their second T20 against India. Quinton de Kock top scored with 90 as Donovan Ferreira finished unbeaten on 30. Varun Charavkani was the pick of India's bowlers, taking 2 for 29. And in response, they're currently 19 for the loss of 2 in the third over, requiring 195 runs in 107 balls for victory. Batting is Patel on 1 alongside Yadav on 0. The last wicket to fall was Sharma for 17. In football, Hugo Broos says he's not allowing himself to think about his impending retirement as he looks ahead to his penultimate tournament as a coach. South Africa are gearing up for AFCON 2025, where the coach says the team need to reach at least the semi-finals for their campaign to be considered a success. After that, attention will switch to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which will be his last campaign after a 40-year football career.
I think it will be a very emotional moment, the moment we have to leave America because we are out of the World Cup. Because then I will feel that this is the end. I don't want to think about it, and even when people ask me that question, I said, yeah, okay, we will see. It's still 8 months. So I want to enjoy what will come. I want to enjoy the AFCON. I want again to do good results with that team. And I want also that we show South Africa in the World Cup.
Several Real Madrid players have thrown their support behind coach Xabi Alonso amid an uncertain future at the club. Last night, they suffered a 2-1 defeat to Manchester City in the UEFA Champions League, while they're 4 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. Despite the questions about his future, Alonso preferred to focus on the positives, including Rodrigo ending his 32-game goal drought.
It has been one of the positives of the evening. His game, not just with the ball against the ball, he has given us balance, but he has. When we were able to get him in between positions, he was the different player, and not just the goal. The goal has been a consequence of many great things that he has done. So I'm really happy for him because it was important for him to feel this level to get back. I think that he will get better. So we need to keep pushing him, and today from my side, well done.
And 6-time Olympic champion Sir Chris Hoy says he's on crutches and hobbling about after breaking a leg in a cycling crash, which he describes as the worst of his life. Hoy announced in October last year that he has terminal cancer, but continues to ride his mountain bike as he entered a bit of stable period in his treatment. He's Britain's second most decorated Olympic athlete, behind fellow track cyclist Sir Jason Kenny. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
7:02 drive. It's 14 minutes now to 6 EWN. Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chali, what kind of day are we having? I expect things to be kind of easier, but it doesn't mean they're completely easy.
Yeah, not completely easy, John. There are still delays. It is peak hour traffic at this stage. So let me start in the Tshwane area where there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. Ferry Glen on Atterbury Road between Solomon Mahlangu and January Masilela due to an earlier accident. Also in the same area, slow-moving traffic on Solomon Mahlangu between Atterbury and Linwood Road. In Derdepoort, there's still slow-moving traffic on Sefako Mahato Drive approaching Moloto Road. Edenville, traveling towards Bedford View, there's huge delays. This is on the R24 westbound between Macro Store and the Gilulis interchange. Also, if you're leaving Alex heading towards Bedford View, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic N3 southbound between the Butler interchange and Van Buren. If you're traveling leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand, you can also still expect about a 30-minute delay. M1 northbound between Ethel Oakland and the Butler interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a shift worker making his way home and daydreaming about his next career move, his next chapter. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a possible light bulb moment that could change someone's life. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Okay, so we're going to get into some music in a moment, but not before I just rewind the tape a little bit to a question I asked right at the beginning of the show. What are you looking forward to doing when you finally get some kind of break during the holidays? And I just have to go back to one answer which I missed, but you'll see why I want to do it. Innocent says, preparing my nursery. So, Innocent, to you and your family that's about to expand, we wish you the very, very best. May the nursery look beautiful. May your happiness expand and grow. That's from all of us on 702 Drive. It's 11 minutes to 6.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
So, some of you tomorrow, and I realize that's not true of everyone, may be getting in the car to go away. And you're going away wherever you're going. It might be to a holiday destination. It might be that home that you talk about quite often whenever we ask the question. There's the place where you live and there's the place where you call home. But wherever you're going, there's that kind of gnarly bit, whichever of the metros or large population centers in Gauteng or anywhere else in the country for that matter, you're trying to get free of, and there's traffic, and there's maybe a couple of traffic lights out of order, and there's the highway, but the highway's a little bit full. And then somehow there's a sense of the open road. You'll never be completely alone, particularly on a Friday, especially if you leave a little bit later on a Friday. But there is that moment where you feel we're on the road. So I want to ask you, at that moment where you feel we are on the road, what's the song that's top of your playlist? Your favorite little bit of road music. Maybe it's particular to December. You've got different road music for winter or different times of the year. But if you're setting off tomorrow or any day next week or even after that, you're out on the open road, you've got a little bit of, what do they call it in Grand Prix racing? Clean air. And you want some music to go with it. I couldn't pick out a song because I've got so many that I like to play. But in the end, I settled on this one. Here's Leonard Skinner. Song that came out in 1974, so it's an oldie. And no, it is not referring to that part of Potchefstroom, which is called Alabama. But anyway, I like it. Good rock song. So your road song, please send it to us. Tell us if you like, why you like it. The main thing, though, is give us the title and the band, and we'll see if we can dig it out of our library of songs and play it for you. 702 Drive, it's 8 minutes to 6.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
A criminal complaint has been opened against 6 basic education officials and a parent allegedly involved in a matric exam paper leak detected in Pretoria. Basic Education Minister Sivyo Kwagube says an investigation found anomalies during the marking process. The department discovered that the leak involved 26 matriculants from 7 schools.
And this is quite important, that we're not only just following our own internal processes of the suspension of these employees, but there are criminal elements of being in possession of stolen material of the state.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Team, summer is game time in Mzansi. Every tap, scan, swipe, it all adds up. And FNB is giving us big rewards, partner deals, e-bucks, defense tips, and chances to score experiences money can't buy. But you're only in the game if you pay with FNB. So stay sharp, spend clever, and let's dominate. Get in the game with FNB. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Land Bank Limited, Northrise FSP and credit provider, NCRCP 20, T's and C's, earn rules and limits apply.
Last December, you put in new floors. Come New Year's, your visitors were out the door. And the new floor went from fresh tiles to don't step on a crack or you'll break umama's back. Now, abantu bazotini when they see the kids playing the Squid Game's hopscotch on those same cracked tiles from last year. Avoid the embarrassment this festive. Make smarter decisions for your home. Visit Cash Build for quality tiles, adhesive and tools at the lowest prices. Cash Build.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So you're hitting the road and then you are getting through the traffic. I never put music on. Maybe something a little bit chilled until I've kind of navigated that getting out of the city, whichever city it might be. And it's only, as I say, when I feel I've got clean air ahead of me that the song comes out. If I was riding with Bafana, this is what he would play. Here's Roxette.
She's the heart of the fun fair. She got me whistling a private tune. And it all begins where it ends. And she's all my magic friend. She says hello, you fool.
So we are riding with Bafana and Roxette, but we've got other people with other songs, thinking of different journeys perhaps.
Hi John, my favorite road song is Queen, Don't Stop Me Now. It just gets me in the absolute right mood, and we normally play it when we're on our way down to the coast. So that means we'll be playing it next week. Whoop whoop.
Oh, that's a great choice, John. Mine, that's a fabulous choice, Leonard Skinner. My one is Country Road, Take Me Back to Where I Belong. John Denver, I think it is. Sarah from How to Be a Sport.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. All my to blue water, dark and dusty.
John Denver, Country Roads, Take Me Home. What else? We're not going, well, we're sort of going home maybe for some people, but we're getting out of the city. What's that song you would play?
Hello, John. Mona here. We have a family thing that once we get out of Gauteng, we play, yes, a Boney M song. I know it's Boney M, but what can we say? And it's the one for hooray, hooray, it's a holiday. So yes, once we're out and we hit the open road and we're going and we leave Gauteng, then that's what we play.
Tonight's going to be a good night, I remember now.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's the night. Let's live it up.
Yeah, this is a wonderful message to play out with. I'm from Durban. My father is late, so my mom is my only parent now. And this song speaks to missing my mom and not being able to do another day without seeing her. So when I hit that N3, usually pre-dawn, heading south, this is what I blast. And the song is Sjava Umama, my mom. Unfortunately, we don't have time to play it, but many of you know it. Maybe you can hear it in your head and think about that wonderful message. Safe travels down the N3. I hope the reunion is a great one. I'm John Perlman. Good night.
Let's paint the town. We'll shut it down.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Discover the latest trends shaping digital assets across Africa. Download the ABSA Africa Digital Assets Insights 2025. Good evening on your Money Show tonight. How our economy is forcing you to have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 jobs, while our parents so often just had one job. The Competition Commission moves to protect minority shareholders. Why the G20 is helping business to feel more confident than at any time in the last 14 years. We look at cocoa prices and how they've dropped so dramatically in the last few months. And in your investment skill tonight, why Zeronia is a better prescription than Jaibar for your home loan. All of that to come, but first the very latest Eyewitness News.
Good evening, I'm Mikey Malapo. The mining industry continued its